Fucking radical.
There we go. That's not going to be the first word of the entire video, because that's our hook, is that this video will be fucking radical. There you go.
Yeah, man.
So this is our random video in which, hi, I'm Mah-Dry-Bread, this is Gabriel Morton, we're talking about Survivor Series 2017. Your version, you saw the main show but not the pre-show. I've seen the entire thing twice for the sake of note-taking. I have 8 pages of notes.
Took me 3 days to get through fucking the main one.
Took you 3 days. I did both in a sitting. I'm gonna just lightning round through the pre-show, because none of it really needs to be talked about. None of it is storyline other than Enzo versus Kalisto.
I'm astonished Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were in the pre-show.
They shouldn't have been, because they're very good on Smackdown, but random unannounced pre-show match. They're the biggest story in Smackdown right now, is Sami and Owens.
Jesus. Yeah, especially because what happened at the end. So they were on the pre-show against, like, Breezango.
Yeah.
And, like, was that for any reason? Was there any underlying Breezango make fun of, like, Kevin Owens' fucking neckbeard? Because that should have been how the match started.
I believe basically how it started was Sami and Owens were bitching about how they don't have a match on the show, and yet, like, they should be on Team Smackdown. And the Fashion Police really just made fun of them, and then a match was announced. The match, so this has the least notes of the entire night. I have one note. It just says, nothing match that happened almost entirely during a commercial break. Owen wins with the powerbomb. There's literally nothing else I had to say about this. It started and nearly ended during one commercial. We come back from commercial, they're in a match.
I love Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens is so good.
Just the most unbelievable wrestling neckbeard made good story.
I know, right? He's shockingly good.
Everything about him is the opposite of what should be successful, and the fact that he is so successful is just a testament to his amazing ability.
He himself said, like, he never thought WWE would pick him up, and he was thinking of retiring. In fact,
no, he looks like a potato rolled in pubes.
And not a potato in the good way, like Ishii.
No, not like one of those fancy buff GMO potatoes, like a fucking regular ground potato. Alright, so what was next? Fucking Kalisto versus Enzo.
And Elias versus Matt Hardy. It was a 10-minute match. I don't have a whole lot to say about
Matt
this.
Hardy was on the pre-show? Jesus.
So all I have to say about this one, this is one of those matches where I have almost nothing to say about it, but it'll segue into a conversation.
So Kalisto hit his dick on the fucking...
Look
that up if you
trust
haven't
me,
seen it.
We'll get into that. I'll put a clip in the video, like a GIF or something. So Matt Hardy headlocks Elias for the first 3 straight minutes of the match. We go to commercial. Come back from commercial. Elias works over the left arm for the entire rest of the match. All we need to know here is Elias is really, really good at working the arm. Like, he gets very creative. He switches it up enough to keep the audience interested. And he hits a move I've never seen before. He hit this sweet shoulder breaker where instead of like your typical one, hold him in front, like pile driver front thing, drop him shoulder first on knee, or like the Canadian shoulder breaker, same thing, but facing the other way. He lifted him like a double underhook pile driver, then dropped him down forwards like Angel's Wings or something, but stuck one knee out and dropped the front of his shoulder on his knee. It looked really safe, and yet it looked really good. It made a tremendous noise. The crowd reacted. It was really cool.
That's nice. Good old fucking Elias.
Matt did his comeback with the worst one-handed punches you've seen in your life, and he actually sold the injury really well. Like, he was gonna do the corner clothesline, and he stopped halfway through and switched arms. And like,
that's actually nice, because the injury selling is something that's gonna come up fucking later.
Oh yeah, it will. But he goes for like clothesline, and he realizes he goes to switch arms. He goes to put on the headlock for the running bulldog. He goes to grab, realizes he can't get a grasp. He shakes his arm. He switches arm, does the bulldog with the other one. Like, Matt's psychology is actually really good for as bad of shape as he's in right now. But at the end, Elias slips out of the twist of fate, throws him shoulder first into the post, and puts him down with the fisherman's neck breaker. I had to say, Matt Hardy right now, he's for the last while, he's walked with his back so unnaturally straight that it reminds me of like 1997 Shawn Michaels after getting thrown on a ring apron, where he walks with his back so straight that you know it's fucked.
Yeah,
and
like,
I
it
worry.
has to be like this or it just won't bend.
Like, I really worry because Shawn Michaels, when he was looking like that, he took 7 years off wrestling. So what the fuck is happening with Matt?
Do we know something's happened to Hardy, or is he just, I don't know, he's just being weird, maybe he's...
He stopped doing the diving leg drop 7 years ago because he said it was fucking his hips up and his back up so bad. I think this is back about because he says in interviews he's shorter than he used to be. And I think he's right. Because that diving leg drop fucked him. But I'm worried about Matt because last night on Raw, he's teased that he is finally broken. They teased it forever. After his loss to Bray Wyatt, the other night on Raw, he crawled back in the corner. The music went out. The camera's looking straight at him. He's clutching his ribs. He starts whipping his arm to the side, yelling, delete, delete, delete. And afterwards, he tweeted and says, like, I've been reawakened or something. And it's like, I think they're finally pulling the trigger on. That's what that was. But his back is so fucked right now that I'm really worried he's not going to be able to get a proper run with this. And Jeff's injured for, like, months.
Like, he'd make a good leader, he'd make a better Bray Wyatt than Bray Wyatt would right now.
Yeah, because Bray Wyatt doesn't win.
Bray Wyatt and absorb Bray Wyatt into his weird, like, broken cult. Because Bray Wyatt's fucked. You know, his whole thing, like, imagine fucking Undertaker as just a sad goth kid who thought he was a zombie, losing every goddamn major match. Because that's what they've done to Bray Wyatt. I'm a swamp villain. Oh, cool. What's this guy gonna do? Oh, lose repeatedly and just look like a chubby moron. Okay, like, he's not scary. All of the things that he says, all the big promos that are still, in isolation good, are just like that kid at school who thought he was a vampire. Like, that's where Bray Wyatt is now. And I think, like, if Matt's injured, like, and he can't sort of keep this stuff up, I think having him, like, essentially beat and absorb Bray Wyatt, and you could spin that off to Bray Wyatt, fighting back and taking over one day or whatever. Like that, it gives you opportunities to sort of fix the miserable shit that's been done to Bray. Because I think, you can't have Bray go away and come back as like Chuckles McWrestle, like there's no
Husky Harris.
This. Yeah.
Like, I was the one fucker on earth defending Husky Harris back in the day, by the way.
And then Kalisto hit his dick on the ring and Enzo still exists.
So
Enzo, who I've always just called original character Do Not Steal, because he just looks like somebody's Sonic.
I've never interpreted it like that. So this is the only title match on the entire show was Enzo Amore, who's the Cruiserweight champion, defending his title against Kalisto. And during the entrance, as Gabe alluded to, so Kalisto does this thing when he gets in the ring during his entrance where it's supposed to look like he leaps from the ground and flies over the ropes into the ring.
He's got a little trampoline.
He's got a little trampoline. They just cut so it doesn't look like he's got a trampoline. He doesn't quite get the jump right, and he's a very little guy, so he leaps up, he goes to fly over the ropes like he always does, and he gets stuck at about waist level, and he's such a little guy, he can't, like, grab the ropes under him to flip himself over.
He really hangs himself on it. Like, his momentum is just killed. Like, because he fucked up the fucking arc of the jump a bit, lands dick first into this fucking thing, his whole body folds over it, and he goes ba-doing, and just hangs there for, like, a solid second, and he has to wriggle. Like, he didn't, like, hit it and then bounce off. Like, he just hit it and went, like,
Yeah, it's 4 full seconds. It's 4 full seconds. And then he manages to eventually build up the momentum to, like, flip his legs off. But now his song has played more than he's anticipated. So he does his front roll, he jumps, and in the air he's supposed to strike a pose. Instead, in the air, he's adjusting his mask. He lands on the ground, he goes to do his hand thing, but immediately has to go to the hard cam because his song is now doing the lucha part, so he's got to start throwing his hands. And as he turns from the camera, you can tell he's laughing.
Look, this shit happens. Like, it's unfortunate that it happens, to Kalisto a bit, or like, continuing the wonderful tradition of Sin Cara botches.
Yeah.
But, like, you just got to accept it. Like, the best thing they can do for botches is just accept that these things are going to completely happen. Don't try to cover for them. Because it's trying to cover them up that draws the eye to them. Even if wrestling were 100% completely legitimate and real, people will still slip climbing a rope. That shit'll happen. So just capitalize, make it look like it's someone fucked up. What? Like, you can do a fucking 450 splash at all, chubby. Shut up.
I have almost nothing to say about this match other than that Kalisto loses because he's stupid, which is a running theme on 205 Live of Kalisto loses in ways that make him look like a fucking moron. And it pisses me off so much that this guy beats like Drew Gulak in under 1 minute on 205 Live. Drew Gulak, an amazing wrestler who I love to death.
Really good, yeah.
Who's my favorite part of 205 Live every week. He's so fucking funny that my fiance Fatima now cites him as her favorite wrestler of all time. Just because she was introduced to him on 205 Live, and she loves every time he comes out and he talks about his PowerPoint presentation, or his comedy stuff, or just how good he is in the ring. There's always something to smile about when he's on screen. And so he's her favorite, and he's one of my favorites. He's awesome. And then Kalisto will beat him in under a minute. And Kalisto is a fantastic wrestler, but I feel like I'm being conditioned to not care about him because...
To think that he's a dumbass, yeah.
Because he loses matches because he's a fucking moron, and when you give him a microphone, he fucks up all the time. He's one of these guys who always does this thing where he needs to buy time to think of what to say next, so he just says it in Spanish. And then, like, there's the infamous, I'm gonna do a lucha thing, and then runs off camera live on air. What the fuck was that?
Like, and again, we have sensible solutions to this. They're called managers.
Yes,
you know, there's great ways we can fix this problem. Like, oh, you're great in ring, but not a great talker? That's fantastic. We have this really unhealthy guy with an amazing mouth. Perfect. You know, listening to Brock Lesnar try to speak is embarrassing. And he shrieks like a cat that's had its tail stood on.
So Kalisto lost because he was a fucking idiot. For no reason, he decides, as Enzo's running away on the ring apron, like, they're both on the ring apron, he's going for Salida del Sol, Enzo pushes him away, and for some reason, Enzo climbs around the ring apron on the outside onto the other part of the turnbuckle. And Kalisto, instead of getting in the ring or getting out to grab his leg or something, he decides, I'm gonna reach through the turnbuckle, like in between the supports and stuff. I'm gonna try and grab him through this and do what exactly are you gonna do through that? And so Enzo just grabs him by the wrist and pulls him head first into the support, then gets him in the ring, hits Joe Dunzo, pins him clean. I mean, I guess it's technically not super... He hits his head on like a part of the turnbuckle, but I mean, the ref doesn't give a shit. He was looking right at it, so I guess it's clean. Fucking idiot.
Well, I mean, if he initiated it, concerned about the rules element for that, but
it's like what was the plan? What was Kalisto's
WWE has
plan?
A big issue there. Most of their faces do dumb things.
The worst is when they let go of a submission because someone's on the apron, and that happens on Survivor Series. By the way, someone lets go of a submission because someone got on the apron. What were they? What did you think they were going to do on the apron? Like, why would that make you stop your submission hold? You've got them in your finishing move. You're gonna let go because Lana jumps on the apron or something? Fucking why?
Oh, look out, someone else is here. Someone knock on the door? Oh.
Like, what's she gonna do? Get in the ring and hit you? You'll still win if she does that.
Yeah, they gotta
so
think
dumb.
these fucking things through.
Okay.
So what was it like? Yeah, because the match I started with was New Day versus The Shield.
Yeah, let's go on to that now, because the pre-show's done. We are
edit it all down.
45 minutes in.
You can have a deleted scenes, like have two. You can have the regular one where we actually talk about SummerSlam, and you can have Survivor Series, and then you can have the deleted scenes.
I've done that so many times where I've called it SummerSlam.
Because what's a wrestling podcast if it's not 3 hours of off-topic conversation?
To be fair, that's basically what the Heroes Wrestling podcast used to be back in the day, except for live at 3 a.m.
So New Day, like, because I missed the Shield before, so you'll probably have to fill me in a little bit on like how that sort of pieced together. Like
the old run of the Shield?
Oh no, I mean because they're the Shield again. Last I checked,
how they reformed.
Were separate.
The reformation was actually really cool. It was basically a thing of like Seth kept trying to convince Dean, like, hey, let's reform the team, and Dean would be like, no. Like, I'm not falling for this again. And Seth had been a face for a little while, and he's like, you stabbed me in the back. Like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, like, that's a big thing to get past.
Yeah, and, like, Dean was really selling it as, like, no, like, oh, I remember when I was a tag team with this guy once, and he stabbed me in the back. And, like, he's, like, really sounding like he is still furious about this. And says,
they
like,
never really paid that off. Like, they had that cell match that didn't, like, go anywhere, and then they were just separate. Roman Reigns never really had a stake in expressing his anger about it, like, from back when I was still watching it. So, like, that's my curiosity is in how they got past the anger they'd be feeling towards Seth still.
I'll recap it real quick, but the short version is Seth and Ambrose worked for like 3 months on making it work into a really long story, and it was really satisfying in the end. And then Roman was just kind of there. So just wait until you hear how Roman gets added in. So it's, you know, this whole thing of like Seth keeps coming up to him and like, you know, like they'll get put in like a match where they're on the same side by the general manager, and like Ambrose doesn't trust Seth at all, but Seth's really trying to put in the work, trying to get him to trust him. Like he really wants to bring things back together, and he's being really genuine. And there's like a really heartfelt promo one week by Rollins where like
I think
Rollins
I actually saw that on YouTube.
I think it's like Dean Ambrose was getting beaten up by Cesaro and Sheamus after a match, and Rollins comes in and saves them, and backstage Ambrose bitches him out and just says like, why are you getting involved in my business and stuff? And Seth just gets fed up, and he, at one of the times that Ambrose is like, you betrayed me, he's like, and you think I don't regret that? Like, I have had to live with it as long as you have. I've had to live knowing like I betrayed my best friends for what? Money, for the support of the company, and look how far that got me. Like, and it was this really good impassioned promo, and it started to turn from there where like, you know, Rollins would put the hand out for the fist bump thing the Shield would do, and he'd just get blown off. And it got to the point where after a match one day, Rollins, like, Ambrose runs in, saves Rollins, and Ambrose looks really hesitant. He paces around a few times, and then he puts the hand out, and the crowd goes crazy. And Rollins looks at it, and he looks at him, his hand, he looks at him, and he walks away. And Ambrose looks crushed. Like, he's like, you know, what have I done? Like, was I being an asshole this whole time? Like, mate, should I have not done that? And he tries to fight for him back a little bit, and eventually they end up tag teaming together. And one day they do the fist bump, and the crowd goes fucking crazy, and they unite their tag team, and they take down the bar. And then a few weeks later, Roman Reigns finished his storyline, and he's sitting backstage in defeat after like Braun Strowman or something, and he's slowly taking his wrist tape off. And the camera pans out and to the left a little as he looks up, and there's Seth Rollins, and the crowd goes crazy. And then he stands up and he looks at Seth for a second, and the camera pans out a little bit more. He looks the other way. Dean Ambrose is there, and the crowd goes even more crazy. And then they both give him a little nod, and they both walk off the side. He's back in the Shield.
And then Roman's here.
Roman lost a match. They both walk up to him and nod. Hey, want to do the Shield? And he's like, yeah, I miss being cheered. And then they do it. Did
he actually say I miss being cheered?
He said nothing at all. I'm sure the implication was there. The Shield is back together. Everybody's loving it. People are booing Roman a lot less than they used to. Roman is still kind of positioned as like, but he's the big one in the group. Like, he just randomly won the Intercontinental title in an unannounced match on Raw 2 weeks ago. Against The Miz. The Miz, right after he had that stellar pay-per-view match that we're going to talk about later, where, like, again, his character work is so good. So, the first match not on the pre-show. I'm going to just go through all of my notes real quick on it, and then we can ramble about it for the next 4 hours. Okay, here's every note I've written on it. Starts with Big E versus Reigns. Michael Cole immediately talks about how this is all about the big dog marking territory.
Big dog eats my ass.
I wasn't ready for that. Immediately just yelling out about dog piss. Thanks, Cole.
Oh boy, I gotta sit down and watch pay-per-view. Dogs peeing everywhere. Thanks, 5 idiots at the commentary table.
They haven't locked up yet, and he's yelling about how this match, which is the Shield versus the New Day, is all about Roman Reigns marking his territory. This is all about Roman, and he needs to take a leak. Should have done it before the match, but this is the situation we're in now. So
such a like, it's like, okay, he's the big dog. Let's let that fucking metaphor stay just there. Otherwise he's still just Roman Reigns.
They just won't shut the fuck up about it.
This was a fairly fun match for me, and even without like a lot of the lead. Like, and I was a fan of the New Day because I was a big fan of them even when they were doing their stupid like fucking revival shit. Because because I'd only just discovered that they actually, the WWE had moved all their fun backstage stuff to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'd just gone through and watched like all of the New Day on YouTube. Oh, look at the enacting, Heidenreich raping Michael Cole.
Yeah.
Holy shit, these guys are actually really fucking funny and good. And finally, they let them actually do that on fucking camera. Edit this down. Like, again, have the edited one where you actually pay attention to SummerSlam, and then just have the fucking Ramble one. Just have them separate.
Then there's like the other one where you watch on the side.
Yeah, and like, look, if you click on the long one and you go, this is meandering and going everywhere, yeah, click on the fucking one that says focused, the SummerSlam attention one. It's your stupid fault. Switch it off.
Yeah. I can make that. I can make it.
But
it's going to be really easy, actually.
We'll get back to this. So, this was a really good 3-on-3 with, the New Day's creativity in their multi-man moves really, 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 really shines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just getting Big E to haul two bastards up and have both Xavier and Kofi do their fucking, assisted body cutter DDT.
Oh, yeah.
Thing is fucking sweet. Big E, I've loved since he fucking came up, because that dude is just a great behemoth.
Match 1 of Survivor Series, everybody. I'm gonna read off I'll read off the rest of my notes, and we'll wrap it up, because I feel like we already said a lot about how we feel on the match being a lot of fun. Shield dominate early with a lot of really good tag moves. They are doing the rapid tag in and out, elbow drop, knee drop, fist drop, the really quick barrages stuff. I think that's really cool for them. Ambrose was weird as fuck this match. He barely sold the Unicorn Stampede. He didn't even attempt to block it in any way while trying to tagging it out. And the ref is watching this borderline cheating and yelling at them occasionally hey, stop, hey, stop. He's smiling the whole time. I just thought that was really weird. New Day are working heel in this match for the first time in over a year. And it actually worked really well. It's not thumb in the eye heel, but they're doing things like they do the Unicorn Stampede and then they just do it again right after. They're round 2,
kind of the bow heel sort of thing.
Exactly.
It's not like poison mist and a brick to the face, but it's dicky. It's
not a poisonous brick to the
rules,
face.
It's against the spirit.
Yeah, they're trying to wear out the crowd almost.
Yeah.
Ambrose gets worked over the majority of the match. He's the only member of the Shield who gets consistently cheered, and this is probably why he was picked for this, because Seth Rollins still gets booed sometimes because he was such a bastard as a heel, and Roman is Roman, so...
Roman!
So, yeah, Ambrose is probably the best pick to get beat down because he's the only guy who always gets cheered. Ambrose counters a top rope belly to belly suplex by Big E with a series of the worst bell claps I've seen in my life. He is no Austin Aries when he comes to a solid bell clap. He does 5 of them and they look like ass.
Yeah, that's one of those moves where I think the Usos were doing as well, where it's just...
they did Mongolian chops for a little while, and that also looks a little dodgy sometimes. You gotta be a big fucker to pull off a Mongolian chop. Only small guy I've ever seen do it well. CM Punk had a nasty Mongolian chop, which is weird to say.
Good striker. Well, good fake striker.
Okay, yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Right, so Ambrose clears house, makes a hot tag by leaping about half a footstep away and landing back on his feet. Usually with the hot tag, they do a thing where they barely get to their feet and they leap as far as they can and they just barely hit the hand. He was about an inch away. He just hopped and hit the hand a little. It was pretty funny. Roman turns around all of the boos, actually, in this great sequence against Xavier Woods, where Woods pushes Roman off into the ropes, ducks between his legs, starts rearing around for the discus forearm, and gets caught in a Superman punch. Crowd goes wild with cheering, and about 3 full seconds later goes straight back to booing, because they're like, whoa, that was cool, but Roman Reigns, guys.
Cool, you have to reward when he does good, or when they do good.
Yeah.
You just keep booing, it's gonna, breaks the system. Roman has absolutely the capacity to be interesting. They just botched it by trying to make him new Cena.
With the fucking Suffer and Succotash son promo.
Oh, yeah, Jesus.
Fuck
Just him
that.
silently powerbombing people and just walking off. Great.
Or when he just says the final line.
Yeah. Just have him be the quiet killer that he was. Don't try and turn him into Cena. And we're okay.
So, Kofi takes the really abysmal ripcord knee. He goes straight into the Dirty Deeds, but Xavier Woods breaks it up. Roman and Ambrose start going around the outside one by one, grabbing members of the New Day and whipping them into the crowd barricade before going for the triple powerbomb on Xavier, but the New Day managed to come in and start hitting mass finishers. Just finisher spam. They're hitting like the... Xavier hit like the Shining Wizard, which is one of his moves. Kofi got the Trouble in Paradise. New Day do an incredible tag move, which I think I've seen them do like once before, where Xavier just deadlifts Biggie onto his shoulders in like electric chair drop position.
Yeah, like, fuck, you forget that Xavier's really fucking strong.
He's ripped to shit.
He's not a light human being.
Yeah.
And like, Xavier was low in that like lift too, like. And
Biggie, he's not putting his hands on the ropes to help. His hands are up in the air. He's having fun. It's a ride for him.
That was a good move because it's like, what do you got? You got fucking, Kofi doing the splash, and then you fucking throw Big E at them, and it's like, yeah, that's a believable finishing maneuver. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and the only thing I wish is I almost wish that Xavier would run across the ring and do his corner to corner elbow. Have you ever seen him do this move where he gets on the turnbuckle when the opponent's all the way in the other corner. He then walks out onto the rope like the tight walk, and then leaps corner to corner elbow drop. Perfect.
Yeah. I've seen him do that a couple of times. I was really impressed.
What the fuck, man? Like, you can tell this guy trained in the early days with AJ Styles and TNA. Because this shit's crazy.
Just step out.
Right, so they all splash Ambrose. This is instantly followed up by a really awkward moment where the ref goes to count the pin because Biggie's the legal man, but that's not the finish. So Biggie just gets up and attacks Rollins, who's not in the ring.
Really doing anything?
Yeah, he was just kind of like near the edge of the ring waiting for his moment. So Biggie had to awkwardly get up at the 1 count and go deal with it when either of the other or New Day could. It was a bad follow-up to a really good moment. New Day hit the fucking amazing double midnight hour. So he's got 2 members of the Shield, Ambrose and Rollins on his shoulders. They both do diving DDTs. Can
just pick humans up.
It's crazy.
There was a good bit there actually, because I remember fucking Ambrose went for the to sort of throw himself up onto Big E's shoulder early, and it kind like Big E wasn't sort of prepped for him, so it kind of just looked wonky and weird. And then Big E treated it like Ambrose trying to get out of it and started belting him in the ribs a bit. And that's something I like to highlight just because I like when they accept that someone's, when they can sort of either cover or adapt to little botches quite easily. It helps sort of, it's like it's like editing on the fly, thing that looks like it's a bit of a fuck up, but it could also be something else. So Big E's done that where he's like, okay, this looks like it could be wonky and botchy, so I'll just fucking start hammering Ambrose. So, it kind of helps start the sentence again.
Yeah, I love when that happens, when there's someone, like, somebody's really good when they can instantly cover for a fuck-up. And the best example I can think of that recently was Oni Lorcan had a match randomly on main event, I think, against Kalisto. Kalisto goes to springboard onto, like, a standing Oni Lorcan, and immediately his feet slip out from under him, and he goes to fall, like, on the inside of the ring. The millisecond his feet slip before he's even hit the ground, Oni Lorcan like leaps straight into a pinfall and gets like an immediate 2 count. And it was so fast and looked so slick that the commentators got away with immediately saying like, oh, I think Oni pushed the rope out.
Even if pro wrestling are 100% real, you're going to slip. Like it's high risk for a fucking
And why
reason.
wouldn't you try to pin him right away?
And why? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he slipped. Of course he did. Have you tried to do a fucking springboard anything? You fucking fat ass and fall on your goddamn ass. So yeah, he slipped. And then the person, rather than go, oh no, someone slipped, how do I recover from this error, goes, my opponent has made a mistake, I will capitalize on it. That is keeping, the fictional bubble solid. Because it's not broken. I'm not looking at 2 people suddenly forming an act and going, oh fuck, someone stumbled on their lines. It's where both, I'm trying to beat this person, he's fucked up, I'll capitalize.
Yeah.
Fixes the goddamn botch.
It was such a good cover. So back to the match. Double midnight hour, great, but the pin attempt gets broken up when Roman spears Big E through just the pile of people, and there's a big "This is awesome" chant and everything. It was quite the spectacular sight of this mountain of humans just rolling over everyone. Yeah. And my last note here, Roman gives Kofi a really terrible-looking spear, where Kofi was kind of in the air, and he bonked him, and then he couldn't fall till he hit the ground. And then they do a triple powerbomb off the middle rope for the pin at 21 minutes and 20 seconds.
Solid match.
That was a lot of fun. I really liked that match.
Yeah, I mean, I think my problem with it overall, like not the match, like the match's placement, like pacing a pay-per-view that's going like nearly 4 goddamn hours is important. And like something New Japan do is their opening matches you could all completely almost ignore. Like
I've
their
noticed.
multi-man ones that are like very deliberately, and like it's not to say that they can't be fun or have great moments. Like fucking Taguchi's a gem whenever he's doing anything silly.
Yep.
But they're all, the idea is it's an ease in. You can sit down, you can maybe be playing a video game or doing something else while this stuff's going. And then, so the pacing of a New Japan match is like an inverted pyramid. You're coming to a point. The matches get more and more significant, more, one-on-one, longer, and more important.
Mm-hmm.
And, the WWE starts, and this match is a good match. Like, I'm not going to fucking shit on this match. 20 minutes of, fairly solid quality, one or two little fucking mistakes, but look, who cares? That shit happens. But then, you've got this, oh, great, great start. And what does it lead us to?
It leads us to the Women's Survivor Series match.
Yeah, and then, like, so, as opposed to this inverted pyramid where we've got, like, okay, something slow and easing into the, the peak, you've got a good New Day versus Shield, a fucking, fairly average goddamn, Women's Survivor Series, another average, thing with Miz and Corbin. Usos and, Sheamus and that were pretty good. Like, and then, like, Brock and, AJ. And so, keeping my energy levels to, to building to something, because I'm super hyped now after New Day versus Shield. Now I'm kind of sleepy after, like, fucking the women's, because I fucking tuned out during that one.
I took very extensive notes because there were many fuck-ups, and I love to bring up the fuck-ups. I have a feeling they'll carry us through that match, and we're not going to have a ton to say.
There's no focus, like
There's very little story, like shockingly little. Like most of these people are not feuding.
I know, it's Raw versus Smackdown, which you have to be told a month in advance is important. And I'm not sure why. Like, there should be some sort of dated thing, like if Raw wins, they get something, or, some shit like that. Like, I don't know what the stakes were, aside from...
They never announced any stake for if your brand wins. They keep bringing up over and over, oh, Raw has this many points, Smackdown has this many points. There's nothing on the line.
I don't know. That's like if right now you just said, oh yeah, like fucking Mah-Dry-Bread's got fucking 8 points and Gabriel has 6. Cool.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean? Like, that's why I hate that they don't bring up anymore that wrestlers who win get more of the pay cut for the match. That's an incentive to win.
Just stick Raw cash on the line. Like, what do you get? Cash. Or if Raw wins, the fucking nitwits on the Raw team get, a fucking match of their choice. Give me something that I can give a shit about, as opposed to just having Raw and SmackDown invade each other like a week or two out. Because I don't care. Because this doesn't matter. Because you're not in competition. And none of the fights that you have here are going to do anything to maybe come up again next fucking Survivor Series.
It's basically just an excuse to get to see matches you wouldn't normally see because people are on opposite brands, which is fun, but it's also
not a bad
very
idea.
hard. It's very hard to build a story around that because you can't interact with the person on a week-to-week basis that you're going to be fighting.
You're really stuck then on the single hinge point of in-ring quality.
Yeah.
So you just don't have the fucking opportunity to chuck out a lazy or kind of uninteresting match in the fucking middle of it. Because you kill my momentum. That's the thing. Like, I love New Japan, and I will sit and watch a goddamn pay-per-view, and I will barely pay attention to the opening multi.
Same here.
And whereas here, you look at SummerSlam or Survivor Series, where I'm watching. I was invested. I started out like that a bit with the New Day versus Shield, but then I was watching it.
Yeah.
And sure, WWE's got me watching this opening match. Problem is my energy levels and my interest are going all over the fucking shop. Whereas with New Japan, these opening ones are forgettable, but it's drawing me into a well-designed point where by the time it's getting to like fucking, Naito versus Omega or whatever they're finishing it with, I've been built slowly up to, holy shit, I'm fucking ready for this goddamn match, and I'm paying attention.
And it feels so big.
Yeah. and it's gonna finish, and I'm gonna go, holy shit, the fucking thing ended, and it's like there'll be a brief promo, and then that's fucking it, and then it's like, oh, I've got to tune into the next goddamn thing.
And you leave on that high of seeing that spectacular match, and it was built up to so much, and like it feels like this is a huge deal.
Yeah, whereas here, you know, I get like a good match, cool match. You know, it's my energy is all over the expectation of an audience to be into it. 4 goddamn hours is a hard ask, and 4 hours of like baffling all over the shop. You know, match quality, and like ending on fucking Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, and that was abysmal to begin with. But if that had been the second last match, no one would have really cared that much. Dumb, yeah. A taint on the fucking pay-per-view, not really. Like if it ended on Lesnar versus, you know, AJ, people would be a lot happier because that's a peak. That's a fucking top pyramid that you can
very good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it was fucking. Oh, I'd watch that again. You know, you could have Survivor Series again next week. But then, like, we get that, which is a peak, and then suddenly it's like, oh, but it's not over. Like, okay, what am I supposed to be still excited? Like, can I have a minute? Like, it's just really fucking sloppy, and it's something that's just so obnoxiously present in everything that WWE does at the moment, where I just don't feel like they're thinking or giving a shit, really. And that translates to me not giving a shit.
I feel like watching a pay-per-view, at the end of it, it should kind of feel like watching a really good movie where you leave on that high. And again, that's what New Japan really understands. Yeah.
Long-term booking that, you know, spans not only years of match build-up and idea and that is like consistently reflected in ring, but also each pay-per-view is structured that way. And it's like, you know, you can complain it might be repetitive or whatever, but even the multi-mans at the start, little bits of those will lead into things. You know, like if Evil beats gets the pin on somebody, that actually has a fucking point. It matters. You know, whereas I don't know what any of what I was watching is supposed to do or take me to. And the overall pacing of the pay-per-view, you know, it's imagine like orgasming halfway through sex and then still fucking for like another 20 minutes. And that 20 minutes is sort of just boring and you're just kind of not present for it. Like that was this pay-per-view. I had this great thing where I was really excited watching Brock versus AJ. And then it's like, and now Team Raw versus, you know, Team SmackDown, which has had some of the most baffling things happen in it and really fucking just spoiled the fucking pay-per-view.
You know what's the worst part about this Women's Survivor Series match? You know who's going to win going in. Does anyone genuinely believe Team Raw is going to lose when it has Asuka on it? She currently holds the record of longest undefeated streak in WWE history, beating Goldberg's in WCW.
She's Goldberg, yeah.
It's crazy.
Who on fucking, you know, SmackDown's side has any level of comparable, you know, expectation? Like Becky Lynch at best. Like Carmella's not going to do it.
On Smackdown last night, Asuka defeated in
like a minute, you know, like 5 seconds or something.
Dana Brooke, thank you. And I believe it was 3 seconds with the flying armbar.
Like the fastest submission ever.
It's got to hold a record. It definitely holds a record in WWE.
Walks in, tap.
And it was great. But I think it was a really great moment.
I mean, Becky Lynch could be built to that, but that's going to take time. Natalya, if they hadn't like just shit all over her for the past few years. Like Carmella, Naomi, and Tamina are, you know, on a fucking level below both.
You mean Tamina can't take on Asuka? I used to be known on the Heroes Wrestling podcast as the king of Tamina Snuka jokes. I prided myself that every single show with Tamina Snuka on, I would come up with some new way to completely rip into her. And she's the least shit now that she's ever been, but I promise I will never run out of Tamina Snuka jokes because holy fuck, Tamina Snuka. What the fuck?
That's awesome.
She's awful. Okay, so the match. For anyone who doesn't know what a Survivor Series traditional match is, it's a 5-on-5 team match. They tag in and out, regular rules apply, and if someone gets pinned or submitted, they're eliminated. First team to eliminate...
a 5-man elimination tag thing.
Yeah. First team to eliminate the whole other team wins. So here are my notes, and then we'll kind of get into opinions, I guess. Captains Becky Lynch and Alicia Fox started for the match for their respective teams, with Fox working over Becky with forearms and slaps in the corner. Alicia Fox is a really great character, but she's still slow and sloppy in the ring. I remember seeing her brain... who's that really shit wrestler who's supposed to be like a black cheerleader? Cameron. I've seen her.
Cameron. Oh yeah, like she's gone now.
You know the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker that Alicia Fox does?
That's a good tilt-a-whirl. Like she's got good moves. I just think the interstitial fluid, like the little bits between the spots, she just needs a bit of work on. But I otherwise really like Alicia Fox. Her crazy girl character is the most legitimate crazy girl that WWE's ever done.
It's very
good. She was wandering out and taking like JBL's hat and stealing fans' drinks and shit.
I was gonna say pouring drinks on people, like
yeah.
Yeah, she was great. Like she didn't give a fuck. I love
No, and that again, like now I'm interested. Because all the other crazy girls have been like, I'm Mr. Crazy. I'm not like other girls. Yes, you are. Shut up. The fucking scary girl who I think might stab me. That's actually interesting.
Again, another great thing about early 205 Live. She had a heel thing going with Noam Dar for a long time that was really good, largely because of the interactions between her and Dar. Dar could carry all the in-ring stuff the feud needed, and she and her had such a comedic back and forth, mixed with that craziness of what originally was him trying to get with her became she's crazy and manipulating him. But Fox, when I saw her wrestle Cameron a few years ago once, and she did that mock speed tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but dropped her head first across the knee and took her immediately to Concussion Town because the second she hit the ground after that, there's this immediate pause of, oh, that didn't go right, and then Cameron's just out of it, and the ref immediately like pulls Alicia back and looks at Cameron's like trying to like wave in front of her face and shit, and Alicia Fox looks devastated, like she just knocked out her friend, and then goes for a very sheepish pin cover and ends it. Oh man, just it's like she's confident. Mach 5 backbreaker slams her knee into the back of her skull,
which is an amazing move. Like keep that as a finisher. That's spectacular.
The backbreaker. Oh, it's a hell of a lot better than her fucking axe kick where she just drops her tailbone on her neck.
Yeah, like it was Cameron that had that head scissor kneeling to DDT thing, but
no, that was Naomi did it for a bit. Cameron did...
Oh yeah, Naomi. I get Cameron and Naomi mixed.
Cameron would do a split-legged leg drop for a pin and tried to pin a person face down, infamously.
The great Stone Cold gif of him just wanting to yell at a...
Oh yeah, didn't she say her inspirational match was like, oh god, what was it?
It was like fucking something to do with Jackie Gator. It was like one of the worst.
It was like Jackie Gator versus Melina, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have actually been.
And he just immediately rips on her for it.
Yes. Can't punch woman.
Like that's something I would say to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and I think that was an honest answer too. I don't think she watched the show, to be honest.
No, she didn't. I mean, like, I had my little handheld, my phone, and my mounted fucking control pad so I can play Third Strike while I fucking watch 4 hours worth of goddamn WWE. And, like, I put it down. I switched it off for fucking New Day versus Shield, like, fairly quickly into it. It was about 4 minutes in. I was like, oh, these guys are taking this seriously. Picked it back up for the fucking women's match, and honestly, a lot of it's just a blur of hair and screaming and people who I think probably deserve a bit better.
There's definitely people in here who deserve a lot better. Naomi had a killer title run.
To be here at all.
Becky Lynch is obviously really good. Bayley was a great champion in NXT and has been continually shit on Raw to the point that people don't even cheer her anymore. Alicia Fox, again, a great character who was good in the match until her elimination, which I'll get into, because I don't know whose fault that was.
The WWE could get people to not like Bayley.
It's unbelievable.
Just amazing. That's like
she was
getting
so
an audience
big.
To She's
so lovable.
Yeah, she was the legitimate, nice baby face it was okay to like.
Becky grabs an arm on Fox, but Fox makes it to the rope. Bayley blind tags in and immediately rolls up Becky Lynch 2 minutes into the match. Natalya instantly starts beating the shit out of Bayley in the corner. Tamina Snuka tags in, and that's when I realized that she now wrestles in a jacket as if she needed a bigger handicap. There's your joke. Bayley gets the shit stomped out of her in the Smackdown corner, but the crowd is hardly reacting. Bayley takes a super kick. I spelt takes wrong. A super kick from Carmella, followed by the Tamina Snuka Superfly Splash, pinning Bayley at 5 minutes 30 seconds. So Bayley bitched out instantly. At least she took 2 finishers. Like, yeah, something.
That's fair.
Tamina and Nia have like the heavyweight stare down, but the crowd really isn't that into it. They headbutt each other a bit, but it doesn't work because they're both Samoan.
See, I like that. That's one of the best pieces of wrestling canon. Can't headbutt a Samoan. So
it's hilarious.
The idea that they've done like a double Samoan like headbutt spot, that's not bad.
I like how over the history of WWE, especially back in the olden days, there's like a hierarchy of headbutts. Like Samoans are at the top, then it's black people, and then it's like crazy people.
Like Benoit.
Yeah, like if you're crazy, you can headbutt, but you probably won't win against a black guy. But a black guy can't win against a Samoan. Yes. And a Tongan guy is basically Samoan, so what's the difference?
Yeah, close enough.
They headbutt each other. It doesn't really work. Nia tears off her Raw shirt. The crowd starts to actually cheer before she hits a pretty impressive running cannonball in the center of the ring. Shit, I didn't think she could do that. Tamina goes for a Samoan drop, but can't get Jax up.
Yeah, I think like Nia, I rate her higher than Tamina. I think Nia's actually got some like legs and could probably even get
Oh yeah,
good.
She does.
I just like Tamina's just like
Tamina's awful.
Sort of, yeah, like a puppet made of beef jerky.
I don't know what they see in Tamina, but Nia Jax on NXT was quite good, and she's been okay on Raw. She has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And she's a great character, too, which helps. But right, Tamina goes for a Samoan drop, but can't get Jax up. Jax goes for a Samoan drop, but just lets her down because Lana's on the ring apron. Tamina uses the distraction to hit her super kick twice, which is one of her finishers. Nia goes tumbling out of the ring. Naomi hits a planche outside on Nia Jax, reminding us she's in the match because she's done nothing. Tamina goes outside and hits a third super kick on Jax on the outside, followed by the shittest crossbody off the stairs. Jax gets counted out from that at 9 minutes. Tamina does the Jimmy Murderfly Snuka pose in the ring as the camera quickly cuts away, so they don't need to explain it. And I have written down here, ask Gabe if he knows about the whole murder case with Superfly.
Oh, yeah. No,
okay. I'm happy you know about the Murderfly splash.
I picked up on the Murderfly, and I was like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like probably killed his wife. This is not 100% sure, but there's enough that I'd like to see a decent examination to tell me that it 100% wasn't it. Because until then, I just believe he did.
It's enough that I totally believe he did it. And the worst part is he got a retrial like a couple years ago, but he was dismissed because it was determined that he couldn't stand court. He was so unhealthy, he died within like a week.
He chucked a sickie. Yeah, which, I mean...
He died so soon after.
Jimmy Strangle wife snooker.
Yeah. Jimmy, she slipped out of the RV on concrete snooker, which is what he said happened. Yeah.
Ooh.
Jimmy, I swear I didn't do the Superfly splash off my RV snooker. Chris, I swear I didn't do the diving headbutt off the kid's bunk bed to kill him, Benoit. And we know he didn't do the diving headbutt on his son because he would have kicked out at 2. No one kicks out. Everyone kicks out at the diving headbutt.
Yeah, did he ever get anything with that? I suppose his family, but...
I think he got himself with it once when Daivari rolled over with a ring bell for his head to go into. Fox yells at Nia to come back even though she got eliminated for no reason whatsoever, and Naomi nearly rolls her up. I don't know why Fox was doing that, but at least she's crazy. Alicia tries for the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but accidentally grabs a fistful of Naomi's hair. So they get confused, let go of the hair, and then just repeat the spot. Naomi immediately after gets a sunset flip for a 2 count, but the ref calls it a 3. And Naomi pulls her back up for her submission where she like full Nelsons with her legs. She always does a sunset flip, 2 count, kicks out straight into the move, but the ref counts 3 even though I replayed it. It was not a 3 count. Then he shoos them away and she has to roll out, and then everyone's confused, and then the ref breaks them up, a rollout, and then Sasha Banks instantly runs and gets Banks' statement. Naomi taps at 11 minutes, 8 seconds. Everyone's confused as shit. I don't know how bad that must have looked for the live crowd who doesn't have the commentary to help. It was just fuck up, repeat the spot, fuck up, sunset flip, go for a finisher, ref miscounts, rolls out of ring, instant tap out, just 30 seconds of what the fuck just happened. Asuka kicks the shit out of Carmella. Carmella tags and they stomp, just leads in with stomps and forms in the turnbuckle. Carmella slaps Asuka. This is quickly followed by Asuka hitting a pop-up knee lift to the face and a decapitating buzzsaw kick. Carmella's out at 13 minutes. Just murdered. That was a great moment. Yeah. Sasha Banks slaps Natalya the hardest I think I've seen in a long-ass time, followed by Natalya hitting her with a discus clothesline. That's the smoothest I've seen in a long time.
Natalya's got skill, it's been fucking crushed under years of fart gimmicks and other stupid crap.
That was the worst. But Natalya's got Natty by Nature, her discus clothesline. Usually it looks spotty and shitty. Tonight, fucking smooth as butter. Looked great. Didn't look as brutal as like Luke Harper's, where he gets like the weight behind it. But for when you're not trying to break someone's collarbone, it's a pretty good discus clothesline. Sasha Banks gets the bank statement on Natalya, but Tamina breaks it up. Natalya smashes Sasha's face into the turnbuckle hard before locking the sharpshooter. She taps it at 15 minutes and 30 seconds after Tamina knocks Asuka off the apron. Deafening Let's Go Asuka chants as Tamina and Natalya start double teaming her, because Asuka's the last one for Team Raw at this point.
Yeah.
Asuka rolls out of a Superfly splash attempt and quickly gets a flying armbar for the tap out at 17:35. Natalya runs in and tries for the sharpshooter right away. Smart. But Asuka gets in a knee bar instead. Natalya gets out and goes for the discus clothesline. Asuka gets her with that spin kick that she got Emma with back in the day.
Oh, that thing that actually brained her.
And taps her in the Asuka lock at 18:35 for the Team Raw win. Cole says it's a sweep. Cole does not know what a sweep is.
Jesus.
So, any parting thoughts on that match? It was kind of nothing, and I think everyone knew who was winning going in.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where it played out kind of expected, and that's not a bad thing, like, because I think there's, wrestling in particular has a kind of knee-jerk need to surprise, where it should rely on just the quality execution of the expected.
Exactly.
I wasn't expecting anything different from the Brock match. I got quality execution. If they tried to if they got rid of fucking Asuka early or done something like that, it would have just been annoying. But the issue wasn't that. The issue was with generally, not a well thought out process of how the match was going to go, and just a few little botches here and there, and largely not a lot of these girls have, what like Asuka has, which is, that sort of Japanese level of I'll get hit in the face. You can see a lot of, there's a lot of the other endeavor to, they visibly look like they're trying not to hurt. Whereas Asuka, A, will sometimes just fucking hurt you, and B, doesn't, even when she's playing safe, she doesn't look like she's, trying to be fucking delicate. And I think that's kind of a general thing with the women in WWE at the moment. It's still, they're good for women in the WWE. They're not good women wrestlers by a fucking large margin. The women's classic was nowhere near as good as the fucking Cruiserweight classic, just because so many of them were just, borderline fucking raw.
Yeah, but, there was a lot on. There's a lot on the Cruiserweight Classic where, after the whole first round was done, there's pretty much no stinkers. Whereas, you get the weird stuff with that one weird guy from Chile being really weird in the first match, but there's not wrestling in Chile.
He's like the Chilean fucking wrestling. There's just one fed that's he organizes.
Well, I like him because he's really funny.
Yeah, he acted very big, and I'm sure he's got to do that because there's no fucking cameras. Chile probably doesn't have video camera technology, so he's used to having to actually fucking sell who he is and what he's doing.
Look, if Somaliland has internet, Chile has cameras, and I know Somaliland has internet.
I have to reassess, but it's that general, and the problem is when you put. Asuka, and commendably, again, she's been booked as Girlberg. You need to be building someone else, and preferably a lot of someone else's, because you can't have a competition where there's a bunch of people and then a huge gap in the top. And the whole point of having a really good peak character is it should be a motivator for everybody else to get good, or to at least be shown as comparatively good. And I'm certain a lot of these girls can do this. It's just they don't, they've worked probably unbelievably hard, matches every goddamn day. But, even a bad shimmer match is better than what, a lot of fucking the women's matches that WWE puts on. Fucking NXT's women's matches were both either better in in-ring content or booked in a way where the fucking narrative, the Bayley and Sasha matches weren't on the same level as Mayu versus fucking Io, but they were great stories.
Yeah, And that's what they try to lean on usually. I just wish they do a better job.
Not only does this not like a fucking interbrand Survivor Series is kind of stifled in how it's going to build a story. So okay, you've got that issue to deal with. You need to cover for that with a very well organized in-ring match with people who can actually do the shit. I think like there's a few who are still a little green, a few who are a little unsure, and that the problem is when you get them all together, that multiplies. You get someone unsure doing something, they feel like they fucked up. The other unsure person pauses. And these pauses create these really visible sticking moments where you're just like, oh, I'm watching a... it takes you out.
When Alicia Fox goes for the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and grabs a fistful of hair and they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Like, don't look like you don't know what's going on. Like, look like you want to hurt the person you're with at the very fucking least. Like, pull her hair. Pull her fucking hair, yank her onto the ground.
Yeah, exactly. If that fuck up happens, I don't know, short arm clothesline with the hair.
Yeah. Like, just the whole point of developing this as kind of like a physical, version of Mad Libs is you should be able to, if a fucking space shows up, you should have a back catalog in your head of potential things that you can do to keep the thing flowing and to keep it looking like a real fight.
Yeah.
If you fucking pause and go, what am I supposed to do next? That ruins, the fucking immersion. And it doesn't matter how wacky or stupid the thing you do next, whether it's fucking Joey Ryan's dick spot or fucking Kane shooting a fireball or whatever else. It just has to be played, quick and sensibly. Just quick and like it's, again, like it's fucking real. The pause is, we're both actors, shit. And, I see that a lot with fucking, like, it's probably happening a bit less with Nia, but like, Tamina's never been anything else but like maybe a good valet, like a good hard valet who can like just every now and then she does like one elbow spot or like a big boot maybe.
She's got a good super kick. That's about it.
Yeah, she is just she doesn't have that inner vocabulary of moves that she can dip into, of instincts that she can go straight to, and like I don't think a lot of the WWE girls really have that yet, and that kind of shows in these sort of awkward moments. And in a one-on-one match with a decent story, those can be ignored or forgotten. In a 5-on-5 with no narrative, you're stuck just hoping for good in ring. And when it's 5-on-4 plus Asuka, that you've got average and then good. And that was kind of what this match turned into. And I watched Asuka in NXT. I don't need to really see her be the one good thing in the ring on like the main fucking thing.
This is exactly why when Rip Rogers trains wrestlers, he makes them... Rip Rogers, in his wrestling school, he's like the senior coach, so he's the last step. He makes his wrestlers wrestle in front of a camera, and they upload it to YouTube, so there's an audience. He makes them wrestle 1 hour improv matches that go to a time limit draw, in which they are not allowed to plan anything before. They have the live crowd of the other wrestlers to study from, a referee, and it goes on YouTube, so don't fuck up. And his rationale for this, and it's very good actually. Like if you have an hour to sit, like they never get gassed, and they always seem like they have something to do, and they have good pacing, and they pick up in the last minute to look like they're trying to get a win before the time limit draw. And the reason he does this is he says you will never need to wrestle to a 1 hour time limit draw
unless you get really good in New Japan.
Yeah, he says like you're never going to need this on a television product. You're not going to need this if you go to WWE. But the fact that you can do this makes you prepared for everything. You didn't get to plan any of this. If you can improv for an hour and not fuck up, then when a fuck up happens later in your career, you're going to have that muscle memory to just do something to fix it.
All right, then we had like fucking Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Usos.
We are not at that match yet.
Aren't we? Oh, fuck, we've got...
No.
Fucking miss.
No. I know you felt like that was it, but you forgot. You thought wrong. You weren't even thinking about Miracle Knee. Okay, so, probably just cut a lot of that for the short version. U.S. Champion Baron Corbin versus the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. I will go over my points because I have very few for them, and then we'll ramble on for an hour. Miz, I think, actually works as a really good face in this match. It's interesting seeing him work face for the first time since 2014, because he's strange in that he's a very good face when working over a body part, which is usually a very heel thing, especially the knee. Like, the leg and the knee is what he usually works when he's a face. Well, when he's a heel, he usually doesn't work the leg.
Yeah. It's working a body part's fair if the implication is the person you're fighting is bigger and scarier than you, which is believable when it's Miz versus Corbin.
Yeah, Miz has never been a very big guy.
Yeah, because the idea is you do the body part work when you feel the rest of it can't cut the mustard. Which is, again, like, they did that with Tanahashi and Okada, where, like, Tanahashi was supposed to be the ace, so he should be able to beat Okada. But then Tana started, like, getting close to, so he started doing, like, limb work. And that's, suggestive of a desperation, a lack of confidence, all these not ace of New Japan traits.
Yeah.
Which sort of fed into the rise of Okada being, like, the essentially, possibly not new ace yet, but, possibly getting there.
The fact that he needed to pull into his bag of tricks and go away from his regular plan to try and fight this guy, that tells you his standard shit isn't good enough for this.
Yeah, and that that also helps make Okada look good. Whereas in this situation, Miz is believable, wussier than Corbin. So the idea that he's just going straight to the fucking thing is like, all right, because what else is he gonna do?
Exactly. Baron was a Golden Gloves boxing champion 2 times.
And like a, BJJ guy as well. So, and he's just a big, angry looking prick. I mean, he's getting booed a lot now in a way that I feel is like more legitimate. Like, people don't like him. Which
is a shame because he was really good. And then it feels like it's quite recent they started to really drop the ball. Because on SmackDown for a long time, he was a main eventer and he was very good.
Yeah. Like, I think his moveset's fine. I think he does something which I wish Randy Orton would do. Kind of just shouts at the audience.
Oh, his trash talk in the ring is great.
Yeah, like Randy Orton is my favorite when he's like,
when he cares,
shouting at the audience and calling them dicks and stuff, like fighting with them about things. Like, it's no DQ, you moron, and stuff like that.
Because he's
like
believable. You could see someone doing that. You could see Randy doing that specially.
Oh yeah, no, he's shouted at people.
It's his Twitter come to life. It's amazing. But yeah, like, I remember Baron on NXT, like, I remember him yelling, like, he threw Apollo out the ring and just yelled at him, like, go back to Ring of Honor, which he didn't come from Ring of Honor, but that's the thing is, it fits his character so well because he cuts promos in NXT where he's like, yeah, you came through the indies after 10 years. Big whoop. I got in here from football and boxing. I didn't need to waste 10 years on the indies to get here because they know I'm a star. I didn't break
my body for fucking hot dogs. Like, because that was, again, like, when they're allowed to talk, when they're allowed to be them or the extension, the character that they make. Great. The Miz was great. Fucking Baron Corbin was interesting talking. Which is a fucking miracle. And then obviously that had to go. I can't believe they cancelled fucking Talking Smack, man. That was like the best thing about it.
Did you see the joke they did after where as an improv skit on, I think, Periscope, Daniel Bryan and Renee did smacking talk with Chad Gable? Where they revealed, where they immediately were like, we have a big announcement tonight. Chad, get in here. I have this piece of paper, this secret document. And Chad's like, what are you doing? And then he hands it to him. He's like, I'm your father, Chad! Because they're making fun of the Jason Jordan thing. And he's like, shut, you're like 3 years older than me. I was a very fertile kid. Chad, were you a fertile kid? He's like, well, I don't know. See, we're related. Virile, rather.
Was it virile or fertile? That was both. Like, both. The idea, at the age of 3, I knocked up an adult woman.
Yep,
like,
and out comes
I love
Chad
those
Gable.
jokes, just like, don't explore this.
And it got canceled immediately, obviously, because it was just something they did for fun on their Twitters. They probably got told to fucking knock it off, but it was hysterical. Miz is in control very early on by outsmarting Baron Corbin, continually dodging, throwing a few punches, rolls out of the ring and stuff. But it's not rolls out of the ring like he's afraid. Rolls out of the ring and just kind of dicks around a little confidently, like, you can't catch me. And that's great. It's one of those changes he does when he's working face. Before Baron eventually manages to overpower Miz and throw him into the barricade right in front of Maurice and trash talks to Maurice a bit, which is a great moment. Because Maurice is his pregnant wife that he was making fun of on Twitter.
Yeah, like bashing a man in front of his pregnant wife. solid heel behavior.
And I don't know if you saw the entrances, but they recapped their Twitter feud where they did these really great promos at each other in Twitter video where Miz literally said, "And if you ever talk about my wife again, I'm gonna knock your fucking teeth down your throat." And they played it on the pay-per-view, but censored it, of course. On Twitter, it wasn't censored.
Sweet.
He
swears. No more PG.
Miz gets fired up and brawls with Corbin more on the outside, but Corbin quickly takes control of the boot off the apron. Crowd starts cheering for the Miz pretty loud, and Miz starts to fight back, focusing on Corbin's knee. Started with I think it was he charged him in the corner, he just kicked his knee out from under him. Corbin tries to get back in the ring after a bit of fighting on the outside, but Bo Dallas cheap shots him in the knee as the ref's distracted by Curtis Axel, which is interesting because, the Miz Taraj on the outside, usually heels doing heel stuff, and the crowd's cheering it because they're like, Miz is firing up, and Baron's such a bastard. Talks trash right in front of his pregnant wife, and then when he gets chop blocked by Bo, you're like, yeah, fuck it, guy deserved it.
Yeah, fuck him, he's a big dick.
Miz rolls through a belly-to-back suplex and chop blocks Corbin, locks him straight in the figure four, almost fucks it up, but he gets it. It's not like Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, we got the legs all out of place.
Yeah, the innumerate figure four leg lock.
The incredible one, no pressure anywhere, and they're both screaming.
Because he almost didn't hook the toes of Baron's crossed leg.
Yeah.
He actually did shift it in, and it locked reasonably.
He got it in the end, and it looked...
Yeah.
It almost looked like he was going to break his ankle at the end, though.
I know, but that's, again, cool. Make the fucking shit look like it fucking hurts. And this was built, this was when I started to get into the match. Because I was actually interested in the fucking match at this point. Because I enjoy Baron as a good, big, angry power worker. The deep six is a cool move. I fucking love the end of day. And I normally hate the fucking complete shot as a finisher. I don't fucking like it.
Very few people make it look good.
Yeah, I love Mil Muertes, but even he doesn't really do it enough.
It just sounds good when he does it because he's a giant man.
Yeah.
You know who did it really great that you'd never imagine if you hadn't seen him wrestle, because no one ever says anything good about him? The complete shot was fucking awesome when it was done by Muhammad Hassan.
Huh.
He fucking spiked fuckers. There's this clip of him fighting Hurricane on Raw, and he finishes him off with a complete shot, and fuck, man, he looks like he killed him. He's got such a snap to it. It's great. It helps a Hurricane,
I think it's another one of those ones, where, it's like when someone has, a DDT finish. It's like, if Neville is selling a DDT finisher, it looks like you fucking killed him.
Yeah, he'll fucking spike on his head and just be up there.
Whereas if, if it's Kane or something, it just looks like an old down to check that the fucking ants aren't ruining his lawn.
If it's Kane, then it's more of a shot to his right knee than it is his head. Every move he takes on his right knee. Hey, he'll wrestle until he's 90, but that's what you gotta do. The ultimate way to beat Kane, his weak point must be his knee. Rip off a knee pad or something and hit it. It must get so worn down. Fucking slap on a knee bar. He's done.
But so as I'm sitting there watching this match, I'm seeing what I like, which is wrestling that tells a story using character properties, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Miz can't outstrength Corbin. So how's he going to win? Okay, he's got his brain. Smarter than Corbin, completely believe that. It's working the knee. He has a leg-based finisher that works on the knee. All of this is adding up to how does a weaker man beat a stronger man? So, all right. And also, fucking Corbin's finisher is heavily based on leg strength.
Yeah.
So this is genius. Okay, we're seeing something here. I'm seeing, take out the legs, which gives him an opportunity to win, and also helps fuck up one of Corbin's main vicious weapons. And again, I love the end of days. I think it's a fun move. I think it's impressive that he's been able to pull it off on so many big dudes as well. That's a big hinge point for a lot of finishers. I was like, yeah, it looks great when you're doing it to fucking, 100, fucking gram cruiserweight. But he's pulled it off on everyone. Everyone I've seen him try it.
Ever seen him do it to the New York Nightmare, Bull Dempsey? 300-pound fucker, and he pulled it off. And it's funny because they fuck up the catch a bit, so Bull's got to tuck in his knees, and it was anti-gravity. He still fucking pulled off, and it sounded like a shotgun blast when they hit the mat.
Yeah, because fucking that was one that impressed me because it clearly botched a bit, but fucking Corbin didn't fall or buckle, or he actually managed to get the swing back. Bull had to tuck his legs a bit.
Yeah, he did,
You know,
but like they did it.
300 pounds, yeah, because he's counter swinging the weight, so he has to get the force to go back, which is a lot of fucking work. And it looks good every time he fucking does it. It looks good. But now I've got like, there's actual in-ring storytelling happening, and I'm engaged. And then while I'm thinking all this, Corbin gets sent into the fucking, like, there's some interference by Bo and Axel, and then Corbin gets sent into the corner, and then just pops out and does the end of days without any hassle, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, to catch up to that point in the match, it's Miz charges Corbin, but he hits deep six out of nowhere for the 2 count. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Corbin punches Axel on the outside, clotheslines Miz in the ring, pulls Dallas into the ring for no reason, and hits end of days on him. Miz gets a roll up, but only for a 2 count. Yeah, he just pulls him into the ring.
Like, I don't mind that because it emphasizes that I'm dominant. And again, I was thinking at the time this was going to go somewhere. Like, okay, maybe he spent the energy pulling off an end of days on Bo where he didn't have to be doing that. And again, this is after the knee work. So, this should go somewhere again. This should be like, okay, his knees have got to be tired. Because after this, he went for the end of days on fucking Miz and he fell. Like, his knee gives out, lays down, holds it, and then Miz locks in a figure 4 or something and gets the win. A story has been told using all the tools that the wrestlers have in ring. And they just,
they just didn't go that way.
As Bo, yeah. And then just for no observable, and that's the fucking thing with WWE at the moment is why do people win and other people not?
It so rarely feels like it's because somebody is better or someone's smarter or someone's faster, like a positive trait. It's so rarely a positive trait.
Like, they've taken traits away, and that leaves me sitting and just thinking, oh, whoever wins is the person backstage likes at the moment. So I'm thinking about the stupid meta when I should be engaged in the fucking story. And they had that. Like, they were literally on their way to doing this. All they had to do was just have, maybe even Baron Corbin could have still won, but after a busted, end of days where he gets up, manages to maybe fend off Miz a little bit, and then in a moment of just grunt fucking brute anger, does the end of days, gets the pin, but then can't walk.
Yeah,
and then, maybe Miz is going to pile in and jump on him. And it's like, what do we know about Baron now? He is so fucking stupid that he will cripple himself to win, but he will cripple himself to win. Like, now
he's so hateful and vengeful that he won't take his own injury. He won't let that stop him because he needs to fucking prove he was right.
Yeah, I'm the winner. I'm the person who fucking wins. You can't, you cannot beat me even at the cost. Like, I will cut off my nose to spite my face.
And that's a great character.
I have won, but that's a fucking character. And that plays into later matches because now, okay, Miz may work the knee, but will that be enough? Like, maybe he's got to shift it up. Maybe he's got to work something else. Maybe he's really got to maybe Miz has to dig into that hatefulness himself. Story.
And that progresses Miz. Maybe he goes from being this guy who's looked at as not a very good wrestler, but he's smart, into he's stepping up, he's firing up, he's becoming a better wrestler.
Yeah. Validating him. And instead it's just pops out of the corner, end of days, pin.
Yeah, I got the ending down here as after he hits the end of days to Bo for no reason, Miz gets a roll up with a 2 count. Miz rolls through the end of days straight into a kneeling DDT, which was pretty cool. Corbin kicks out. Miz hits the it kicks, crowd chants yes. Corbin ducks the last running drop kick in the corner though. He ducks the last kick, takes the awful running drop kicks in the corner, but on the third one he catches him in end of days, 3 count. This is followed up by Baron Corbin fucking up Miz's catchphrase. He gets on the mic and says to Miz over his body, which he should be trash talking Miz after the match. It's his character, as he needs to rub it in his face that he told him so. But he says, and I quote, "Hey Miz, my hand went up and your mouth went closed." That's fucking up Miz's line of when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. Yeah.
Which, look, I'm not gonna harp honest flubs too much. WWE's got bigger controllable problems to me that they can fix. If it's no use yelling at someone for being fucking ugly. No one picks that. No one's like, I'll take fucking ugly. I want to yell at somebody for shit that they have absolute fucking control over. And WWE's got fucking control over so many of the problems, like from the camera work to the, promo style. That's all of them. But like, it's a little, when all of that is failing, you're left with just the shit you can see. And the flubs like that just hurt more. Because we don't have Talking Smack anymore where you can come yell and be interesting.
If the match was awesome and booked the way it should have been booked, we wouldn't have even noticed that he flubbed a line.
No, I mean, like, so what?
We would just be like glowing on how awesome the match was, and we'd be like, "Wow, that was really awesome!" Like, I'm sure there was. I bet you there's a fuck up after in New Day. Like, I bet you the commentary team said something phenomenally stupid, and I just didn't even notice.
Speaking of the commentary team, 5 people.
I don't know what they were thinking.
And Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips are the same person. One's just like the fucking alternate costume of the other. Like, I think Tom Phillips is actually slightly Byron Saxton.
Byron was actually a pretty good wrestler.
He had the worst finisher, though.
You mean the I don't even know what that is, as coined by Dolph Ziggler screaming that it right after he hit it?
Yeah, the front to back Russian leg trip over and sit down.
Where he doesn't even sweep the leg. It's basically it's a half Nelson slam, but he pulls them down after a bunch of unnecessary leg movement. If you watch the clip of him doing that on YouTube, immediately when he does that, his pro, who was Dolph Ziggler, yells out audibly on the microphone, "I don't even know what that was." And then he gets the pin, he says, "But it worked." It's called Saxtonation.
Saxtonation, yeah.
I know the name of every obscure fucking move because I love shit wrestling. High Society!
High Society. Well, I mean, the Blockbuster's not a bad move. It's just...
Rodney's a bad everything.
Like, all right, yeah. But, like, what's Rodney? He's in a sweater vest and is kind of annoying and can't actually... He can do, like, a move if you get him in.
I feel like we said everything we need to say about Miz versus Baron Corbin. Had so much potential and it had great glimpses, but if it had just been written differently, it would have been a lot better.
Again, like, an ending can fucking... And we'll talk about this. An ending can fucking sour an experience.
Oh, can it?
What was next? Oh, yeah, now we got Cesaro versus Usos.
Yeah, so we've got the SmackDown Tag Champs, the Usos, versus the Raw Tag Champs, The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. Sheamus has some really awful white paint in his mohawk that kind of clumps it into spikes, kind of like tipping it off at the top. It must have been paint because they stuck together when he did that, and he didn't have it the night after. Usos take over quickly with quick tags and beatdowns, showing that they're the more tenured team on Sheamus in the corner. The Bar take back over, though, by doing a double clothesline followed by their signature taunt. The commentary doesn't seem to pick up on how they just made their arms into a bar and then did their pose. I think that was supposed to be a thing. Commentary doesn't even bring up that they're wrestling. Jey Uso knocks Sheamus and Cesaro out of the ring, and it looks like he's gonna dive on them. But as he jumps in the air, Cesaro leaps onto the apron and does a great, like, spinning European uppercut on Jey, catching him in the air. And that before you even have a moment to register that awesome moment happened, Jimmy gets in the ring, dives out, lands on Cesaro, but Sheamus plants him with the rolling hills on the outside and a diving clothesline in the ring for 2. That was fucking nasty looking. Rolling hills on the outside, that thud. That must suck.
Well, these guys are actually, like, again, I think Cesaro is in my top of, like, not the top, but he's in my, general sort of rotating cluster of people who are unbelievably good at the in-ring. I think
Kevin Owens refers to him as a horse because there's no way a human can do these feats of athletics.
He lifted Big Show up. Like, not like fucking judoed him over.
He held him
up. Yeah, held him, walked with him. Like, the idea that you could lift one leg up while holding, like, the fucking small duplex that is fucking Paul White is a goddamn feat. He vertical suplexes people in from out. Like, he's one of the most absurdly strong human beings. He got fucking amazing matches out of Cena. Like, I think, like, in terms of pure fucking, physical, he's absolutely god tier. He's just fucking stellar. Like, he's basically got a Shoryuken in that leaping fucking European uppercut.
He is just insane. Like,
and I think, like, the pairing of him and Sheamus has been a really good idea because I don't think Sheamus is on, but Sheamus is a great bruiser. Like, the fucking boot, the goddamn, like, the, fucking rolling,
rolling hills. He's got the 10 beats of the Baldwin.
Yeah, like I don't like that mostly. Camera work during that makes me queasy.
I can understand that, but the move itself is
he's a good horse wrestler. There's tight enough where he needs to be, and has
you
like
need
kind
that.
of and you've got the kind of angry, whereas Cesaro's got sort of like a William Regal-esque precision.
So the bar goes Super Saiyan before double side kicking Jimmy in the gut while commentators talk. Okay, sorry, even reading my notes, I'm like, whoa, that happened? Well, the commentators say their own commentary is going off the rails. Right after this, they start talking about how Baron Corbin is on Snapchat. What the fuck? Okay.
What hateful shit would he be like? Just screaming at people for nudes. That's all I imagine.
I just need to repeat that again. So, the bar going Super Saiyan in the corner, the thing where they stare at each other and they scream, and then they sidekick Jimmy. The commentators are talking about how their own commentary is going off the rails in their words. And then they start talking about how Baron Corbin is on Snapchat. What the fuck was going on? There's a match.
5 people is what's going on, and 5 people with a direction to brand and promote as opposed to fucking talk about what's going on.
Okay, so after they were done talking about Snapchat, Jimmy goes to tag out to Jay to find that he's actually been knocked off the apron, followed by a pop-up European uppercut for 2. If I were to control F European uppercut, by the way, I think this whole match would highlight. Jimmy hits an amazing diving tumbleweed that we were talking about earlier off the top rope to Sheamus, followed by hitting the hot tag to Jey Uso, who takes out Cesaro with a depressingly quiet reaction. Cesaro dodges the wrecking ball in the corner and hits a European uppercut in the corner, but ends up getting back body dropped into the other turnbuckle and takes the wrecking ball for a 2. I was getting a little worried when I see those spots where they get thrown in a way that their feet hit the ropes like that.
Begging for a fucking injury.
So, Cesaro gets super kicked in the face while in Samoan drop position, but kicks out at 2. Very strange they didn't finish the Samoan drop. They just kick him and let him down. Jay goes to the top rope for a Samoan splash, but gets hit with a European uppercut. Jay gets his own uppercut, but is caught in the Cesaro swing into the sharpshooter. Sheamus bro kicks Jimmy as he runs in to break it up out of nowhere. That was pretty great. But eventually Jay manages to get to the ropes, which I'm happy at least he didn't power out of it or anything, because it's the sharpshooter, you know?
That's one thing, actually. Fucking the sharpshooter that Cesaro does, he does it properly.
It's a good one, isn't it? It reminds me of...
he squats down into it.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Tyson Kidd's. Tyson Kidd had a very good, like a tight-looking sharpshooter.
Which you'd expect. It really needs to look like one man trying to poop into another man's butt.
Not,
like
I'm not sure that's how I describe it, but it's accurate.
The sharp pooper. It's just what it's always looked like. Like one guy trying to aggressively shit into another guy's butt. Which, I mean, to be fair, I'd fucking tap out.
I mean, if he went through with it or just from the sharpshooter?
Just both.
Okay, both, yeah. I guess in fairness, if that was a legal maneuver, then I don't know I'd want to be a wrestler.
Oh, the sharp pooper. I'll give it a minute until DDT comes up with that. I think DDT.
You know what? I'm a little shocked that they haven't already.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get them on the horn and presumably learn Japanese.
I should make that just a hobby, like just once a week calling DDT's offices. Never learning Japanese.
Just
never bothering to
leave
out.
long rambling English voicemail.
Yeah. I'm at that, just like, hey, I got this idea for you. Okay, so it's a match like that one you had that was for the Gay Universal Championship or whatever. Except, like, this time, you got to poop into Dino's butt. Now, it's not just, you can't just tackle him and just shit on another human being. You've got to, like, okay, imagine a sharpshooter, okay? Like, just ramble. And I'll just record them, and then I'll never show anybody. I'll just listen to them alone in a fucking armchair in front of a fireplace.
Yeah. Man, this promotion would go places if they just picked up the phone.
I'm the best at booking.
So eventually, Jay gets to the ropes, breaks the shit shooter. Jay goes for a splash, but is caught in the aided white noise, which they often use to finish the match. But Jimmy breaks it up before the 3 count.
Jay, there's a bit of because there's a moment during the aided white noise, which I mean, they should just call it whiter noise, or I don't know, white loud, because aided white noise is just not a very good one. But like, there's a moment there in that fucking aided white noise where one of the Usos has wriggled his way out of it, but like Cesaro's got to sit there and look at it surprised and not do anything.
I've got that written down later. I believe it was Jay who wriggled out. Jay goes for a splash, but is caught in the aided white noise, but Jimmy breaks it up. Jay nearly gets pantsed as Cesaro and Sheamus and Cesaro go for a powerbomb dive and clothesline. This is what we were thinking about. But Jay somehow gets Sheamus onto his shoulders from the turnbuckle. So when he gets powerbombed, he Samoan drops Sheamus, who then has to look stunned at this for a little while. Or Cesaro has to look stunned at for a little while before getting super kicked out of the ring.
Because yeah, I'm just watching it now, and like they've got that weird white noise moment, and then Cesaro hops up to try and get Jay. Yeah, because okay, so yeah, they do one white noise that Jay wiggles out of.
Okay.
And then, like, Cesaro is just standing there watching this as Jay rolls him up for a 2.
That's the worst, is when someone's out of position in a tag match, and so they just need to watch for a little bit until their moment happens.
Like, the thing is, it was a kick out, so it's not like anything was gained by not running over and breaking it up. You know, like, it's one of those ones where I just feel like that was a bit of a, a takeout moment.
It's a bad decision. Like, should have just kicked him.
Yeah, just run over and just stop on his fucking head.
Yeah, and then, like, if the guy was not supposed to, like,
because there was no way that
up and healthy for it, have him kick him to get him up, and then have the guy getting up, like, dump him out of the ring real quick.
We'll just hit him in the dick and kick him out.
Cesaro gets super kicked, flies out of the ring, but Sheamus kicks out of that Samoan drop powerbomb combo thing. Usos go for a double super kick on Sheamus, but Cesaro comes in and takes the bullet. As much as I love the moment of showing like how good of a team they are, why wouldn't Cesaro just push Sheamus out of the way?
Yeah. I mean, I'm at that, because I'm at the fucking bit where he Samoan drop. Like,
powerbomb, whatever.
Yeah, there's some powerbomb to Samoan drop.
Tower of Doom to your partner.
Actually kind of, yeah. That kind of amused me.
How the fuck did you get him on his shoulders for that, though?
Okay, so Cesaro hooked him up to a powerbomb, and Sheamus was just up top, and I think they were going to do something like a drag down powerbomb, but then, like, Uso, and that is a singular to me now.
Jimmy
starts punching.
Oh no, Jay! Fucking, I can't even get it right now.
Yeah. Starts punching Cesaro in the head, and then he punches fucking Sheamus in the head, and then just reverses Sheamus without fucking Cesaro really noticing, and so Cesaro just finishes the powerbomb, not realizing that he's actually flicking his poor chum into the ground.
I kind of love it, and at the same time it's goofy, but it's the level of not goofy enough that I don't like it, so I kind of like it. Usos go for a double super kick on Sheamus, but Cesaro takes the bullet. Jimmy ducks the bro kick, and Jay hits a super kick on Sheamus. They get a double super kick on Sheamus on the ground before Jay does a mid-dive tag to Cesaro. That hits his own head on the outside.
That's less cool.
Yeah, it was cool until he slams his own head into the table, and Jimmy hits the Samoan splash on Sheamus for the pin at 15:55.
I actually really liked the flying tag. And again, that's tag team wrestling to me. It's like I'm actually feel like I'm watching two tag teams right now, because Jimmy and Jay are a tag fucking team. Normally, like, the Cesaro Sheamus thing would feel like a situation where it's like Mankind and fucking The Rock, who were tag champs.
Yeah,
it's like you've just taken two dudes and sandwiched them together. But I think they've actually done a really good job of getting Sheamus and Cesaro to feel like a cohesive unit.
Yeah, they've had enough time together, and they have enough moves together, and they've had a storyline together for so long now that it feels a lot more natural than you would think.
Yeah, coming off the Best of 7, I think, where they kind of leveraged that into turning them into a team, actually did work remarkably well.
I was actually really happy about the Best of 7 too, because although they had like 50 matches up to that point, I remember distinctly in 2013, I think it was, they were on the pre-show of some B pay-per-view. It was Sheamus versus Cesaro, and it was a really stellar match, and it made me realize how good Sheamus was, because I always knew Cesaro was good. But seeing those two fuckers, like those two stiff fuckers, beat the shit out of each other and yet be really good, not just wailing on each other, made me realize that Sheamus really has something too.
Yeah, well, he's definitely less of the technical than fucking Cesaro, but he's got bruiser. Yeah. A good bruiser, like a good big thug kind of dude, is fairly solid, and a good counterpoint to Cesaro's somewhat more polished. I like it a lot of Cesaro to like just a ridiculously strong William Regal. He's got that kind of his ability to just add little technical details to his moves that you can hear fucking William Regal explain why twisting the leg there hyperextends it and adds.
Did you ever see William Regal's retirement match against Cesaro?
Yeah, I was thinking of that right then. Just like the amazing promo of I'm not going to win. Like, I'm just going to fight you.
It's slightly hard to go back and rewatch because although it's great, midway through is the Big Show New Year's Baby commercial. So if you look up a clip of it online, you get this amazing match. Halfway through is
Big Show dressed as a baby
dancing, and it's funny because I showed it to a friend before who wanted to get into wrestling, so I showed a couple matches. I showed like William Regal. I showed like William Regal versus Cassius Ohno, and he's like, "Wow, that was really good." And I showed him and I was like, "Do you like William Regal?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to show you this other one against Cesaro." And halfway through, it cuts to that, and we're not in a call together. We're like just talking over text, and all of a sudden, just get this like string of caps lock. Like, what the fuck is going on? What are you showing me? And it's like New Year's Baby Big Show dancing. Now that we're done talking about the Star Wars Christmas special, I love the idea that the short version, I'm going to leave in my transition back from these insane things. And so the last thing they heard us say was like, "Oh, good match. Enough about the Star Wars Christmas special."
Yeah. Cesaro and Sheamus are nothing like this, Star Wars Christmas special.
Well, there you go. That's an incentive for people watching the short version to later watch the long version and get me double the views.
I want to add to the short version just briefly that we're editing down the inevitable 5-hour piece of crap wandering ramble. So don't complain. If you want to hear
you guys don't know how long we've been sitting down to record.
Yeah,
we took a dinner break.
Yeah. All right, so Sheamus and Cesaro, like, reasonable. I just don't know where it's really going again because Smackdown Raw, split. So
it was just a match for the sake of having a match. It felt like there's obviously no feud going into that. Okay,
no, I mean I don't think
very slightly.
Yeah.
Of the two of them beat each other up during one of the invasions. It's not like a proper feud, but I understand that that's hard to build up in this pay-per-view.
Trick people into giving a shit.
Yeah, it's more of a problem with the pay-per-view than it's a problem with them. Yeah, they didn't get an opportunity to build up a feud.
I think generally it's a significant issue of like the idea of Survivor Series is actually a good excuse to have brand on brand. The problem is the brands really aren't that separate, and again, dream matches in the WWE are always going to be hampered by what the WWE lets them do.
Yeah.
Like when I think of, a dream match in something like New Japan or like Jesus Christ, Lucha Underground, like I think about that and I think, oh, what could happen? Fucking anything. Someone could die. Like that. I've seen Aerostar, like if you're watching a match of Lucha Underground, you don't know where Aerostar is. He's at the highest point in that place and he's about to just drop on someone.
Is he the green and black wearing fucker who like leaps out of what may as well be the rafters into the ring?
Yeah. Like he gets up to the rafters.
Yeah. I've seen him like leap off a fucking balcony or something into the ring on a guy.
Like Hell in a Cell high. Like this is high up. Like there's one sort of area that Angelico's jumped off a couple of times. And that's worth looking up because it's fucking stellar. Yeah,
I've seen that guy do a jump where all I could think was, dude, if you like hit the post, you would be a corpse right now.
You're gonna die. Yeah. It's one of those situations again where like, okay, New Japan, the Indies, like fucking, PWG, fucking basically anywhere not with WWE's limitations on what they want their fucking wrestlers to do in the ring, I could really think, oh yeah, that'd be a dream match. In the WWE, and I had to learn this the hard way after what they did with fucking Nakamura, is you're not getting them, you're getting the WWE's light version of them, and they won't let them put on the big show.
Yeah, that's one of my worries is like, I would love to see Nakamura versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and maybe they will go with that because they have teased it before, but if they do it, I'm sure it'll be great. But if I put it side by side with their one at Wrestle Kingdom, it's probably not going to compare.
Probably not. And I mean, I do believe they'd let Styles, like I think Styles could argue, let me fucking work. And I think that Styles has a lot of trust at the moment.
I think
and that's a trust that he's earned. And again, it's not like they're not capable. And this is why I complain, is because the limitations are ones of will. Like NXT does better matches. The match quality is better. 205 Live has better match quality. Mainstream WWE does have terrific match quality occasionally, but it's it's few and far between, and there are situations where you're looking at a pair of people going, this should be a great match, and it's fucking not. And it's, because of that limiting factor of we want, punch, punch, rest, hold, punch, punch, move.
A big thing that helps 205 Live too is there aren't like commercials.
Yeah, they just belt through it.
So they can pace a match better.
What's 205 Live? So we got Bliss versus Charlotte, which I actually remember enjoying. I like Bliss as a character, and I'm impressed with how far Charlotte's come.
Yeah, Charlotte's gotten a lot better over the years. I feel like she's almost gotten worse at portraying herself in the ring. There was a while in NXT where she came across like an absolute like badass champion. She doesn't have that as much anymore, but she's also gotten better in the ring.
It's that issue of they're not sure what, like, because every time the fucking women do anything, they got to come out, cry, and hug.
I hate that shit.
Like, I don't mind that if they're both kind of facey, but if you're trying to sell a bitter feud, don't have them fucking cry and hug. Like, let them be bad guys and shit. Like, I don't think they've done that with Bliss, which is, I think, why her little fucking tart character has resonated with me. Because
she's never had that whole bullshit moment of, but I'm good in the end.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're just awful. You're a nasty, mean little person. And, like, right now I'm watching and she's, like, it's got Charlotte. And, like, they fucking edged on Charlotte being that when she's facing Bayley or Sasha and then not when she's facing someone else. And I think, like, at the moment, I think Charlotte's just kind of in an interim period between actual, egotistical heel or hero building a legacy to match her father, sort of thing.
Well, they've been having her do stuff with Ric Flair, like, on the show. Like, she won the title in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Flair came out to congratulate her in an emotional moment. That was on SmackDown recently. And it was a great moment, too, because she said after the match, like, the only thing that could make this better is if my dad was here to see it. And as she's walking up the ramp and she almost got backstage, the song switches to Flair's and Flair comes out and everyone freaks out. They do great things like that. They're doing a good job, I think.
Death.
I know, right? Holy shit, that comeback. That fiery babyface comeback.
Comes back and fucking sells merch. I nearly died. Buy my shit.
Leaps back from the grave. Amazing. This is some Lucha Underground shit. Oh my god. How weird would it be if he showed up on Lucha Underground?
I fucking love that. Like, this is the thing, and I think it's probably, like, the biggest example I can have of, like, how I've drifted away from WWE is it's like, I don't want the people I like to go to WWE anymore. I want the people I like in WWE to go to New Japan or Lucha Underground.
Yeah, like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, like, Cody Rhodes has been better. I'd like to see Cody Rhodes in New Japan as American Nightmare, but then Stardust just show up in a few episodes of Lucha Underground. I think that'd be the most amazing fucking thing.
I'd love that. So Charlotte has Bliss running early due to the obvious power and size advantage as the audience starts chanting, "Let's go, Charlotte." They trade forms for a little bit until they both go on the apron for no discernible reason. And Bliss hits a shoulder breaker from the apron to the outside. Cole says, I quote, "She was hitted hard." Whoa. Hitted. Bliss keeps the advantage with an arm lock and some elbows to the ribs as the crowd cheers for Charlotte to get out of it. Which is, it's nice when you see like basically a rest hold and people are actually really into it.
Well, that was what I was watching just then. Bliss is like gouging the ribs.
Oh yeah, it's nasty.
One of those ones where, a rest hold doesn't need to look like a fucking rest hold. Like, there are plenty of ways to make a rest hold look like it fucking stings like a bastard. Like, it's not a submission like an arm bar. It's a pain hold. Like, there's a difference in actual submission stuff of, like, there's a pain hold and there's a fucking I'm going to break or choke you hold. Oh,
yeah. This is another off show. I was talking about how much I like Buddy Murphy in the ring. Buddy Murphy's side headlock, or headlock when they're on the ground, when he chinlocks a dude, he kind of stretches out his body and hovers himself off his feet and kind of drives his force upwards with his hips and cranks back. It almost looks like a chinlock mixed with a crossface. And fuck does it look like it hurts.
And like that, we get little bits there. Like the gouge to the ribs, you're not going to tap. It's just to make it suck more.
Yeah.
And I think Bliss is one of the better characterized of the women.
Oh, absolutely. She's very strong character.
She's been a nice, stable, mean little fucking cow her entire run. And it fits her. It fits her size. It fits her moveset. She's really working well toward it. And I think that level of characterization kind of does cover a lot of, the fuck-ups in her moveset.
Well, you know what she was in early NXT? She wore blue instead of red. Nowadays she mostly wears red. And she was the good girl cheerleader who'd blow glitter when she walks into the ring. Fuck, it sucked. The whole time I was watching, I'm like, why the fuck is she not a heel? She's so hateable. Look at her face. She's a heel.
Just look at her face.
I know, right? Like, you can tell, like, there's nastiness down there. It just needs to bubble to the surface.
Yeah.
So, Charlotte almost counters a scoop slam with her injured arm, but Bliss gets out of it really fast and pulls her down to the mat by the hair. It's, like, really slick. I've never seen that before. It's really good. Charlotte goes for an O'Connor roll, but Bliss kicks out, sending Charlotte flying face first into the middle turnbuckle hard. That looked really good. Bliss goes for a tornado DDT, but gets killed with an exploder suplex into the... that was solid too. Like. Oh yeah, right into the turnbuckle. Charlotte goes for the top rope moonsault, but Bliss hits her legs out from under her, and while she's hanging upside down, she drop kicks her in the abdomen, and she felt pretty nasty on like her shoulder and neck area. I'm sure it was safe, but man, it looked painful. Bliss hits the brutal double knee drop to the back while Charlotte's on her hands and knees, but then completely whiffs the backflip double knee. Yeah,
she kind of hit the legs, because she was going for Twisted Bliss, but then Charlotte started getting up. And then Bliss modified it to the knees. And again, I think that's that's another good sort of spot with a bit of depth. Because it's not just like, oh, I don't get to do my move. It's, oh, they've shifted from the position I need. I'll shift it up. I'll do something else. And I'm about to, like, I've paused it on Charlotte, about to nail a beautiful sit-down powerbomb.
Oh, I believe I've got that written down here. But I really like, too, when the character's moves, like, really fit both what they are and the character. Twisted Bliss, great name. But her double knees into a back-flipping double knees is called Insult to Injury. That's a really good name for that.
They've, like, honestly, it's weird that, like, some of the absolute best creative in WWE is in entrance themes and move names.
Some entrance themes are generally
so fucking on point. Like, Nakamura's originally was fucking glorious, and he sort of, he rejected it, and then they came back with what they've got now, and it's so much better. And also, without that, we wouldn't have fucking, glorious fucking Rude, which... Yeah. I can't even imagine what he'd be doing.
God, I am happy he got that theme he did, because he's so talented, and that's apparently what he needed for them to strap the fucking jetpack to him and send him to the moon. Because holy shit. So you're talking about that awesome powerbomb. I've got it here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like, I'm just like, it's such a... Because it's a legitimate... like back in the day, you used to see sit-down... You used to see like a much, bigger level of big moves, that would, be part of the fight. Like, you see everywhere else. You just don't see it in WWE much these days. So it was really nice to see, like, just Charlotte, not off of a reversal, not anything like that. She just hauls the little tart up and fucking sit-down powerbombs her. And it's a good fucking powerbomb too.
It is. The only guy or the only person in WWE right now that I think has a better sit-out powerbomb, Alexander Wolf of Sanity's got a nasty sit-out powerbomb. He just knows how to just whip him down right at the end. Some kind of snap to it. Alexander Wolf is another one of those guys where, like, he's kind of there to be a fall guy in some ways, or just to make a hot tag. But when you start looking more into him and seeing more of his history, you realize, like, oh, this guy's really good. Like, if they ever spin off and do something with he's got a lot of potential. He's just kind of holding back what he does to fit the character.
I haven't been sort of keeping up on it. I'm just like, Alexa Bliss's fucking reasonably good, like, sunset flip. Or it's the Sunset Flip Bomb, whatever the one is.
Sunset Flip Power Bomb, the Code Red.
Code Red.
They call it something. They call it something different with her, but I think they had a name.
It could just be the Code Red, considering she. It's color.
I think they may have even called it like Blitz Flip. No, Blitz Flip was what they used to call Twisted Bliss when she was a face, which she doesn't flip. So,
and like, okay, Charlotte just reversing the DDT by using. To like grab the ropes.
Exactly, I got that written down right here. So to catch up to where I was in it, Bliss goes for the Sunset Flip powerbomb, but Charlotte powers her back, picks her back up, hits a big form, picks her up for a powerbomb, but Bliss Sunset Flips her for a 2 count, then gets the big Sunset Flip powerbomb. Bliss goes for a DDT, but Charlotte gets the old Ald Anderson hold on to the ropes counter we were talking about earlier. I've got that written down even.
Ring awareness. Like, again, that's,
Exactly, it's smart. An experienced wrestler should have like these ideas, Charlotte, Charlotte hit some awful chops, but Bliss takes her down with some awful punches.
Yeah, I think like the idea is Charlotte's like still injured because she's like really favoring the the left arm. She's not using it whatsoever, and she's not even swinging it for better chops. She's just kind of fighting back. And then like here's a good example of why I actually kind of like Bliss. She goes to do what looks like a Fez press, and I think Charlotte kind of fucks up and sits down. So it just winds up with this funny little lesbian couple cuddle of like Bliss trying to look like she's punching it. Doesn't work. Shifts it up into a fucking choke. That looks actually sort of half decent. And now we've managed to fucking push past the kind of really wonky bit and keep the general positive flow going.
Yeah, and the seated guillotine was a really good idea too, because people who had followed them since NXT will probably associate that move as really dangerous, because that's how Bayley beat Nia Jax at TakeOver London, which was a huge match. God, the crowd was into that one. That was a fun match.
That's another good example of like, character evolution, where it's just like, let's not work out a way she can do the fucking Bayley to Bayley, because she can't. Let's just have a...
Yeah, she's a wrestler. Evolve. She knows more than just that. Charlotte powers her way back to her feet, gets Bliss on her shoulders, and hits a great sit-out powerbomb for 2. Charlotte hits natural selection out of nowhere, but Bliss kicks out.
Just so fucking tasty.
I know, right?
I love it. The sit-down powerbomb is just one of my absolute things.
Anytime they sit out at the same time, the person hits the ground. Like the leg drop. We're talking about a bunch of them today. I forget what the other one was because I'm an idiot. The package pile driver. Because it's just a lot of weight hitting the ground at once in a sit out makes a lot of noise. Love that. So
yeah, big impact.
Charlotte misses with the moonsault, but kicks out at 2. Bliss hits a big punch in the DDT, but Charlotte gets her foot on the rope in a position where the ref had to completely stop counting and just look over the body to see if the foot was on, which is always sketchy when that happens. This is why I like how Scott Armstrong used to do counts, where after every count, he leans back fully and looks at the whole body and then goes in for a count rather than just raising it up and down. Because then he checks the rest of the body every single count to make sure that nothing's out of the ring. Charlotte hits a fucking terrible spear, although still slightly better than the one that Roman did on Kofi earlier.
She's had, because Charlotte can do a good spear.
Yeah, it's hit and miss. It's kind of like a clothesline to the gut sometimes, and she wraps around them.
The slow motion natural selection was really good, actually. I'm not a big fan of the natural selection just because it looked like it'd hurt your ass more. But in the slow-mo there, you could actually see Charlotte get the arm really around the neck.
Yeah, sometimes it looks nice.
Yeah, it's a sense of the science of why you're doing it. Like how Stone Cold used to explain the stunner as having like a neck twist in it.
Yeah.
Woo!
So she hits her terrible spear. Yeah. They take a break for nearly a full minute, completely kills the crowd, unfortunately. Bliss stomps Charlotte in the ribs a few times before going for Twisted Bliss off the top. Charlotte brings her knees up right into Bliss's ribs, though, lays her out with a huge big boot, locks in the figure 8, making Bliss tap out at exactly 15 minutes.
It's just nice to me is 15 minutes perfectly.
There's a lot of that tonight where people went out at exact times, I was counting out when people went out on Survivor Series matches.
Yeah, that spear is wonky as fuck. She does not put any shoulder into it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like a clothesline.
It looks almost like Bliss DDT'd her with an invisible arm.
Because she kind of kneels down.
The impact just goes wrong, because there's no sense that she's hit her. It's just the weirdest fucking thing.
Is it the size difference makes it hard?
If anything, it should make it easier. I get the feeling that particularly, some of the girls, it's particularly Charlotte, I tend to notice this, where they're real afraid of fucking doing, any of the strikes too hard.
Yeah, her chops are awful, and I think that's why.
Yeah, a lot of Charlotte's strikes are fairly
Well, her big boot's good.
I feel like the big boot's another one where you can really cover a good sell. I mean, again, I think she's done some good spears before, too. I don't know, I think, I think she might have a bit of a shoulder injury here, or something might be hurting a bit.
She's had injuries feeling
just
before.
By the way she's covering, the left shoulder, she's not doing really anything.
Oh, you know what? I bet it's because she took that shoulder breaker on the outside early in the match.
All right.
I don't know if she actually legitimately injured it, but it looked really nasty. It was like an arm wringer on the outside, and she flew all the way off the apron, shoulder first into the ground.
That was a good knees up onto the Twisted Bliss.
I know, right? It dug right in. So
because Alexa Bliss is, probably weighs like as much as 3 apples, so she can just land on shit.
she is 99 pounds, I believe.
What even is that? Funny light little thing. I do love the figure 8.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I like it.
The 5 dudes at the commentary table. Like, I'm just looking at that now, and it's like, dear Lord, who thought that was?
There's
a
like
good
a
idea?
whole wrestling stable commentating the match.
It is. It's fucking Michael Cole, Booker, Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, who has the name of a fucking a side character from a fucking romance novel from the 1800s. Like, it just stolen somebody else's name. It is the whitest goddamn name, and then there's Tom Phillips on the end.
You know,
There's almost that. Oh, you know what they've done?
what?
It's actually, I'm looking at it now. It's actually literally symmetrical. There's young white guy, young black guy, sort of older white guy in the middle, old black guy, old white guy. Like, there is, if you split Corey Graves down the middle, you have exactly the same mix of ethnicities.
I think the point was that Corey's on both SmackDown and Raw, so they put him in the middle.
Oh, is he on both? Oh, good on him.
When JBL moved, he left WWE recently to work more on his charity stuff he does in Bermuda. So, second from last match were the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus WWE Champion AJ Styles. This is what I was most excited for, and as much as I am the biggest genderholic in the world, and I am deeply disappointed that Jinder lost his title. I hope he wins his title back because I genuinely really like Jinder as champion, but I will say, we all know Jinder would have beaten Brock Lesnar, but I am very happy to see Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles.
This is a good example of, and it's something that Lucha Underground do a lot, where, Vince's idea of, what makes, a wrestler's traits or, abilities or stats is just who big. Whereas, Lucha Underground does, some of the best matches Lucha Underground does are small versus big, because they know how to exemplify, show off a wrestler's speed and technical skill and aerial ability, and how much fun you can have when one wrestler can flip around and land on another perfectly, and that other wrestler can pick up, the former and throw him around like a mad thing. Both of them are able to do their best shit. Like, that is, absolute peak.
Yeah,
and
it's like I was telling you earlier about Mike Knox versus Evan Bourne. Neither of them were a big deal, and they both came out of it looking awesome in just a 5-minute match because they could do such creative shit together.
Yeah. Like, fucking, watching fucking Brian Cage wrestling anything tiny, it's like, what can he do? All my cool, fun throw catch moves that are ridiculous. Great. What can the fucking Lucha do? Every flip. They can land on me in any direction. They can hit me, with, and no one explodes or dies. And you wind up just getting a fucking highlight reel of a goddamn match. And I mean, this obviously wasn't exactly that, but I mean, it's a real good example of, you got AJ doing front flips and pulling shit off the ropes heaps, and, in the meantime, Brock Lesnar just occasionally catching him and throwing him. But I mean, this is a real good example of something that WWE doesn't do enough, where it's believable small versus big. Because, you go into this, yeah, Brock Lesnar has been probably the most effectively, booked monster that WWE has done in ages. And, particularly since they've basically ruined Undertaker and haven't built anything else up. But,
oh, Braun.
The match.
Braun's up there.
Oh, yeah, Braun's getting there.
Oh, yeah, he murders the shit out of people every week on Raw.
They have to, as much as I don't think Braun is precisely fucking ready for the WWE title, they have to get it off Brock.
Yeah.
And I think the only sensible fucking person you can really give it to at this point would be Braun. I think Braun's a good choice just because, Lesnar, when he gives even 4/5 of a shit, is one of the best pro wrestlers ever. And
it's just funny because he doesn't give a shit, and yet he's as good as he is.
Does not fucking care, yeah. And, he's not some fucking demented lunatic low-key who won't lose, he's just and if anybody's really got a fucking claim to be a demented lunatic who doesn't lose, it's the person who's actually not lost real fights,
Yeah.
If anyone could go into that ring and go, I'm not losing, Brock, because what are you going to fucking do to Brock? He's not even a great fighter, but he is the world's best Brock Lesnar, and that's fucking good enough. But I mean, so, here's a good example of, the best that, you can do with, someone who's smaller and more technical like AJ versus a fucking monster, and actually get a great match with a great sense of story in it. AJ's on the back foot. He's getting manhandled. brutally. But what does he do? Comes back with the abilities and the stats that he's got. Like AJ's got, probably max technical, probably about like an 8 in fucking aerial. Like he's not a lucha, but
he's got 5 reversals.
Yeah, got 5 reversals. Yeah,
he built up his Smackdown meter, and he starts his match with 5 finishers. Like he's got handicap on.
Yeah, like so he's got these things, and he can sell these like thrown fucking German suplexes from Lesnar. Like again, he's being killed.
Oh, he like ragdolls through it. He like rolls through it, almost falls out of the ring. He looks like he's dead and just slumping over.
Like they're doing the slow-mo of their release, and like, normally with a German suplex, because I've done collegiate wrestling, like you keep your body to the person you're suplexing. Lesnar just fucking throws a cunt backwards. Like he's not even like there's a few good ones where AJ's not in contact with Lesnar, but it's just so much Lesnar hurling him. Although it is funny watching this now, and you can tell when Lesnar's like, trying to avoid a wellness policy violation, because he's quite chubby in this match compared to like farm boy jacked up.
I was gonna say a little bit closer to when there may have been a steroid scandal.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a little bit concerned about maybe getting money anymore. Like it's possible because his pecs right now look like Paul Heyman's head. Like if you had 2 Paul Heymans with little nipples on top, that's what his pecs look like, and it's a big fucking difference from when he was like, originally showing up.
I think a big testament to how dominant Brock's moveset looks and how well it's sold is that almost every move in this match is replayed right after. Almost every single one. So I got on my notes here. The match starts with a deafening, dueling AJ Styles Suplex City chant, which, to be expected, they're both so big, and it's such a big match. The match starts with Lesnar instantly bashing the shit out of AJ Styles in the corner before ragdolling him across the ring with a few big beals. Brock Lesnar starts dragging AJ Styles by the hair across the ring before laying him in the opposite corner to then belly-to-belly suplex him. Pretty much ring post to ring post he flies so far. Like, he's just having fun. He's smiling and laughing, dragging him around by the hair. He didn't need to bring him to the other corner. There was no reason either than he wanted to be a mean son of a bitch. AJ Styles starts getting choked in the corner by Lesnar's boot as the AJ chants just get much louder. Brock German suplexes AJ so hard he almost falls out of the ring. Brock then throws AJ outside of the ring and launches him face first into the side of the German announce desk. Kind of clips his shoulder,
but fucking desk bump
his head just whips back. AJ takes another German suplex. At this point, I bring up basically everything is replayed. Brock Lesnar absolutely murders AJ Styles with a running, jumping knee to the face in the corner, and AJ just crumples.
That was absolutely brutal, and it's good because that actually, like, a few minutes later, he tries another one and just hits the turnbuckle, and that's when the turnaround starts.
AJ starts suddenly gaining power from Earth's yellow sun and starts fighting back against Lesnar after the missed knee in the corner with some big forearm shots, but Lesnar gets this wicked knee lift to the ribs and takes him right back down to the mat. Lesnar goes for the F5 because he clearly, like, you can see, he looks all nervous, like blood in the water, like, she's fighting back a bit, let's just put this away, no more fun. Goes for the F5, but AJ gets out and drop kicks Lesnar right in the injured knee before hitting a nasty looking DDT.
The DDT was good, yeah.
AJ keeps kicking the side of Lesnar's knee as Paul Heyman on the outside grimaces with every single kick. Love that. So AJ goes for his springboard moonsault into an inverted DDT, but Lesnar catches him in the air. He goes running to the corner to try and, like, maybe power slam him in the corner like Oklahoma Stampede, but AJ slips out the back and goes for a step-up tornado DDT. I don't know if what happens is a botch or not, but it kind of turns into like a back suplex.
Good. It looks like a spinning complete shot.
Yeah, it's some strange thing where basically they both get thrown back hard into the mat and they both sell it for a long time.
Because I'm looking like, AJ's just done the kick to their head. He's going for the moonsault to, essentially fucking Ultimo Dragon's old finisher.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Brock gets shoved into the corner. AJ does a step up for the kick and then a step up for the tornado. Brock, just twists and just belts AJ's face into the ground. So it's kind of like a spinning end of days without the fucking tilt forward, and it just looks really fucking good. One thing I like about the leg focus is if you look at like Lesnar's legs here, he's been skipping leg day insanely. Like he's got these skinny little chicken legs, and
no knee pads
some of his early matches, one of his first matches actually, he lost to a fucking leg bar that nobody ever loses to because everybody who does MMA, one of the first things you learn is how to avoid a fucking leg bar. And I like the idea that there's a long-running canon that, like, Brock Lesnar is like 100 upper body. Like, that's you just can't. But because of that, he has like 80 leg. And you can take that 20 that you've got spare and just belt the shit out of his legs. And that's because you need a weak point. You can't just have a god, otherwise it's fucking boring.
Well, there you go. Put the Miz in there. Face Miz.
Yeah.
He can work the leg like crazy.
And, now AJ's at the side doing his weird, absolutely phenomenal face. That beautiful release German suplex where he does the full flip.
All right, so AJ hits a murderous Pele kick to Brock while Brock is on the ground on his hands and knees. Just cranks him in the back of the head. AJ signals for the phenomenal forearm, but Brock catches him into that release German suplex where he flips all the way over. Fuck. And did you see him grab his knee when it happened?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's the other good thing is, like, Brock is selling the leg injury throughout the whole of the match. Even when he does, and like we were talking about it before with Baron, he actually does that when, like, we'll get to it in a minute, but so just,
yeah,
continue on with the notes. But it's an interesting point because they've been focusing on the knee, and the knee maintains as a fucking, issue within the match.
Brock hits some weird looking crossbody to AJ on the apron where he kind of like rolls over him and falls out of the ring, but AJ just kind of takes it, and it's weird. AJ gets back up and hits a phenomenal forearm on the outside after clearly leaning down to yell at Brock, the move he was going for. It's a little awkward if you notice it. AJ wears down Lesnar on the outside before pushing him into the steps and hitting another flying forearm off of them. AJ gets in the ring and takes down Brock with another Pele kick, springboard moonsault, and a fucking beautiful springboard 450 splash for the 2 count. First pinfall attempt of the match, by the way. Man, I think he called it Superman in TNA when he would do the springboard 450. Beautiful move.
It's a lovely move, and it's like sort of AJ's not a cruiser and he's not a lucha, but he's just like he's got like just some of that cross class high flyer stuff that because he's not like a lucha or a cruiserweight gives it a little bit more oomph. Like when he does a springboard 450, it's hectic.
I want to say he's like 215, 220. I remember Ryback in an interview saying, like, when Ryback was asked about the 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division, they were talking about the size of them and everything, and they got on the subject of AJ, and he's like, AJ's a lot bigger than people give him credit for. Like, maybe you haven't been next to AJ, but AJ's actually kind of a big guy, and that's interesting that Ryback would say that, because I've never thought of him as that big a guy, but now that I look at him next to, like, Chad Gable, I'm like, oh no, AJ is actually quite big.
Well, when you think about, okay, what are some of AJ's big fucking things that people remember? It's like him versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And you're not going to look big next to Samoa Joe. And then there's him versus Kurt Angle. And it's a bit of a struggle looking big next to Kurt Angle. Although, like, I think TNA Kurt Angle was fairly slender at that point.
He did slim down a lot for TNA.
Yeah, well, he wasn't, he's not like now where he's kind of this frightening golem made of scar tissue.
We'll get into it. So he signals for, AJ signals for the Styles Clash as Paul Heyman literally starts laughing on the outside. Like, you can't get that. Lesnar catches him in the F5, but AJ rolls through into the calf crusher as Lesnar screams in pain. And Heyman freaks out and actually at one point covers his eyes with the title belt, which is pretty great. Lesnar breaks out of it by brutally grabbing AJ's head and just bouncing, like dribbling it into the mat. One of
the best moments in this match. And again, that's brutality coming from desperation. And it's such a great little moment because it's, what is it? The weak point of Brock Lesnar that's been getting weakened, it's been getting hit. It's like, that's a fucking locked in calf crusher too. And how's he gonna get out? How's he gonna get out?
Just muscle him down. Just
in the
bouncing
most
his
angry
head.
monster. Yeah, the head is just broken back and forward. And like, AJ's got that fucking soccer mom hair, so it's just flowing everywhere. AJ's really starting to look like Mormon Jesus. Like, I'm pretty sure that's deliberate. Like because the Latter-day Saints fucking hand out pamphlets and shit, and their version of Jesus looks like young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like just holy fuck, he's starting to look like that.
I know,
And
right?
I know he's a fucking Baptist fundy, so like, there's no way there's no way he doesn't like slightly think, yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
I do
will
want to see
point
him pull
out.
off the fucking Styles Clash on the.
I don't know. Is it humanly possible? All I know is even if it goes wrong, Brock Lesnar's neck won't break. It just won't.
Somehow his foot will. Just land straight on Brock's neck, but like, yeah, somehow the foot just breaks.
He'll land on his neck, but his neck is so strong he bounces back up and they land on their feet again.
Higher than as high as it's like a kangaroo's foot. It's an engineering marvel. We should study it. Study most of Brock Lesnar for what it can teach us.
He'll land on his neck and find a way to bounce it back into some kind of wacky Canadian destroyer.
It's an inverted F5.
Yeah, what the fuck? I think that's
it's
just
upside down. This is an F5, but completely upside down. His feet are in the air. It just looks like that
that's...
weird kick Guile has in Street Fighter.
So, I want to point out, by the way, that whole bouncing the head off the ground and the calf crusher. I just want to point out that that's how Jinder Mahal broke out of the match, so I'm just going to go ahead and fan theory. Lesnar was studying tape on Jinder because he was so terrified of fighting Jinder. So it's a real lucky thing that AJ cheated with a metal plate in that elbow pad to beat Jinder, because there's no other way he could have done it. We all know it. But let me continue with the notes before our counterpoint occurs. AJ counters the F5 by getting on the apron and hitting a forearm smash, followed by the phenomenal forearm for another 2 count. But AJ rolls back on the apron, going for it again, gets caught out of the air, F5 for the 3 count at 15:25.
Yeah, like I'm just watching him go for the phenomenal forearm, which is a good. I think the phenomenal forearm's a great sort of extra finisher.
It
like,
is,
I think,
isn't
in
it?
situations like this where you can't get the Styles, like, I mean, I'd like to see him try the Styles Clash on Brock Lesnar, but I also fucking hate the Styles Clash as a finisher.
It's kind of
Like,
goofy.
one of the reasons, because it's such a dumb amount of setup for what looks like a Russian leg sweep to your dick.
I never thought of it that way. Hey, I've seen some nasty Russian leg sweeps.
The Russian leg sweep's a better move, because there's that awkward bit where he clearly needs help stepping around the arms. And then really, like, what's the impact? Like,
your gut, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah, but like, my tummy is getting flat smacked to the ground. So what? A fucking pancake, flapjack looks like way more painful than that. Like, it's always been such a dinky finisher to me.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons
that.
I kind of struggle to get into like AJ generally, because it's like, what's all this building up to? Awkward wobble fall over.
You know who did the move better? Crash
The stun
Holly.
gun was great.
Yeah.
I never saw Crash do it.
Crash used to do it, called Crash Landing. He used to do it, unfortunately, it was like a year or 2 before his suicide. So you don't see him do it much, but he's so slick in getting into it. Usually with like a powerbomb counter or something. He got into it really slick, really fast, and he made a lot of noise with it. He kind of slapped his hands and knees and stuff down. And I don't know, he just... I can't put my finger on quite why it looked better, but I thought he made it look really good. It helped, too, that he was doing it on a very small people, because he was a really short guy. But, you know.
Super heavyweight, 400-pound.
Well, yeah, it's like I just said, I've been watching old Smackdowns. That's what that's what he was doing from episode like 10 to 20 of Smackdown, is building up that whole like Scrappy-Doo character he does.
That was good. And like, okay, so I just got to the end of it. Lesnar, when he catches AJ, favors the leg that AJ's been working. Looks like he's almost going to drop the F5. Furiously powers through and gets it anyway, and then spends the win clutching his leg.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how you should do a match. Like, and you see him go like, and like fucking, there's a pause right before he does the actual flip or the throw for the F5. And, you're like, yeah, my leg's been getting worked. I'm going to push through it because I'm Brock Lesnar. And now I'm going to lay there and remind, the audience that, yeah, I've been beat up and hurt. Oh, fucking Paul Heyman just looking over Lesnar's shoulder.
Paul Heyman is so good.
He's like Violator from Spawn. Like, he's just really just reminds me of that. Like,
he has to be one of the smartest men in wrestling history.
Oh yeah, no, hands down. I'm a huge,
it's like
huge
him and like Raven's pretty far up there as well, as like just he's a wealth of knowledge.
if Paul Heyman and Shane McMahon could run like a federation, it would have the best in-ring and creative, and it would have the best business sense. Because holy fuck, man. Shane was trying to do things like, NXT before NXT was a thing. He was trying to have like ECW be a fucking webcast.
And Paul Heyman wanted ECW to have more like not shoot fighting, but more of a combat sport type thing, which is kind of what Ring of Honor, like a little bit more of that style. And man, he predicts this shit like 10 years ahead of time. Why didn't they go with what he was thinking? And you could see that a little bit in the first like 2 episodes of WWE's ECW, right before Kurt Angle left. He was like a shoot fighter gimmick, and he came out there and just murdered a couple people. And like there's so much potential you can see in those moments. And then he would have left right after and went straight to TNA.
Hey Kurt, take time off. We'll pay you. Please just get better. No.
It's incredible to me that in 2006 they wouldn't let Kurt Angle wrestle because they're worried he was too injured. And then in 2017, they'll randomly throw him in as a replacement for Roman Reigns on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, like, I kind of get that, because these days, like, young Kurt Angle at that point, like, there was legitimate fear. Like, there were articles where it's like, he might kill himself in the ring.
I was worried about that for a while. It was one of those things where, like, it's like when you watch Ric Flair wrestle in TNA, and you're like, I'm really, 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 like, this is, like, it's genuinely upsetting to watch.
He's an old man. But, like, yeah, like, because Angle back then was insane, and he was just like, how do you move? Oh, painkillers. And like, you can see that now, and I think like the stunt match crap that he does these days, I think is like, it's a very different to what he was. He was properly wrestling in fucking TNA, and that was borderline criminal. Like TNA would scoop up so many of like, like Jeff Hardy and stuff, and just like let him wrestle doped up and shit.
Did you see those pictures of when it was revealed that in like 2009 or 2010 in TNA, after Kurt Angle would have a match, he was in such bad shape, he'd go backstage, sit down in a wheelchair, and they'd get him to put on a jacket with a bunch of pockets filled with ice packs in it. That's fucked up. What person backstage sees him in that condition and allows him to wrestle? That's fucked up.
And just like, yeah, and the fact that the most telling thing was WWE was willing to like keep him on full pay.
Yeah.
Just please take the time to heal up. And Angle just fucking wouldn't.
Because TNA will hire a guy no matter what their condition is, as long as they've spent at least a week in WWE. The main event, Team Raw, consisting of Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H, versus Team SmackDown of Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and John Cena. Despite everybody on Team Raw wearing red and everybody else on Team SmackDown wearing blue, why is John Cena coming out in lime green?
And the best part was, like, Queensland had its state election, like, the day before I was watching this, and watching them all stand in the ring literally looked like election coverage, because the Labour Party's in red and the Liberal Party's in blue, and then there's, like, one green candidate who's, like, succeeded, and you're like, oh, look at that. And yeah, like, that list of wrestlers is a great list of wrestlers. And there's so many really sensible and good ways that this could have gone. Like there's just all these really good ideas. You let Angle fucking suplex the shit out of Shane. Let him, like, I don't know, drop Shane onto his neck from a high height. He seems to enjoy that. All these sensible fucking ways that things could have gone. All these great potential combinations for amazing, effectively what this is a kind of truncated. You get sort of 5 individual cool matches with some spots. Not the long-term, like, fucking, storytelling and selling business, but that's not what it's about. Bit of razzle-dazzle to wrap up the show. Fucking, what could go wrong of having fucking Balor and Nakamura on opposite teams? Think of the things that could happen. And they proceed to willfully, spitefully do the opposite. Like,
John Cena didn't need to be in this match. He did nothing.
Yeah, he looked like he knew he was going to do nothing and wasn't doing anything. Like, and I don't mean John Cena the character. I mean John Cena the bizarre absurdist who lives inside the body of the wrestler. Have you ever seen John Cena's Instagram?
I was literally about to ask you if you've ever seen John Cena's Instagram.
Oh, I follow that thing like it's my star sign. Like, he's just this amazing mystery creature to me. Like,
he doesn't make sense.
No,
you know, he goes home and he practices piano for hours.
He's also learning Mandarin. I feel like one day, like, the world is going to be governed by either The Rock or John Cena, or that will be split like down the line to some sort of
into two giant power countries controlling the world, and one's,
like just
one's the Rock Nation and the other's the C Nation, and we're just gonna see what happens.
And like again, because the entire time I'm thinking, look at the odds they could stack against John Cena. But like I've been out of it for a while, and I don't realize what new level of meta hell the fucking WWE booking team has generated to. So it's like, you get a moment of, fun between Nakamura and fucking Balor, which is again teasing something that the fans were chanting New Japan.
I didn't notice that.
No, they chanted like while fucking Nakamura and David are wrestling, they're chanting New Japan, and it's like, okay, you clearly have something here. Let's let's skip that. Let's get Grandad Angle into fucking just, oh god, watching him move, watching him standing on the apron, and he can't straighten his back exactly. His knees don't seem to go straight.
Oh, it's like, it's Matt Hardy times 1,000 of like, ooh, that looks sore. Like, he doesn't look comfortable walking around the ring. I'm a little worried about him. This is like, oh, he can't get in the ring comfortably.
Like, watching fucking, like, as I'm watching it now, like fucking Balor and, because I keep going to call him Devitt, fucking Balor and Nakamura going through their fun little, kick routines and stuff, and you can just see how quick Nakamura's moving his leg because he knows fucking Finn Balor's not going to be in the way. And then Triple H is there because he needs more attention.
Well, do you know on Raw what the storyline for that was
something to do with...
Angle was trying to get Jason Jordan in because it was his son, and Jason Jordan was whining and bitching about how he deserves this and he's earned this because every promo they give him, they want him to get cheered, and he gets booed because he sounds like a whiny bitch. I don't know why they gave him these lines, but he got his knee injured by Bray Wyatt earlier in the night, storyline, and so Triple H came out and replaced him.
Fucking Jesus.
So
like, they could have, like, again, Triple H contributes nothing to this. Like, having Jason Jordan here and, like, maybe lose quickly or look bad, that might contribute to the fucking stunted little baby boy thing that they're going for with him. But, like, no, let's just get H in there so he can fucking feel good about himself. It's so weird because, you don't see this in the way he manages fucking NXT.
Better yet, if you want him to be a face, Jason Jordan, have him take the bullet for Angle in the match.
Yeah.
Where, like, he's so overwhelmed and awestruck by his dad that he's got to save him in the match, and he gets eliminated because of that.
Well, that's the fucking turning point. Is like someone's beating the shit out of Angle, and he fucking maxes up. Like, just goes immediately super fucking Jordan level 2, and just bursts in there, and is again the amazing fucking machine that he was in NXT. We were just running around suplexing everything.
Yeah, really. He pulls down the straps. He spears him in the corner. He does the belly to belly and like just goes crazy. He takes out like
his
3
hot
dudes.
tag thing was like full tilt suplexes. He didn't just clothesline people or push them over. It was just these amazing, like, just suplex up, suplex up, suplex up. Fucking sweet. Do that. Instead we got fucking Nipple H and fucking Angle who
Nipple H.
Yeah.
How have I never heard that?
I started calling him that in high school, and I've just never been able to stop.
Fuck, I think that may have gotten me. Usually if I want to rip on him, I just say Triple H, because there's this one shitty mid-90s European tour only pay-per-view in which there was a layover and they couldn't get their own production team, so they had to hire a local one. And in the infographic when he came out, it said Triple HHH. H to the power of 9.
I would just always, like, I'd love to be in the WWE just so I could constantly refer to him as HHH.
Wait.
Like, just never say, like, just like I don't know the word triple exists.
Wait, are you ready for the name of this discount pay-per-view? Mayhem in Manchester. Fuck. Makes insurrection sound good.
Insurrection, yeah, it's brilliant by fucking comparison.
Yeah, Mayhem in Manchester.
Naughtiness in Norfolk.
Fuck, they didn't have enough lights to properly light the ring. It's one of the only pay-per-views they've done that's not on the network. Mayhem in fucking Manchester.
Yeah, like, no, that's amazing, because that makes Mayhem in Manchester and the North Korea one the only two that aren't on the fucking
Oh,
network.
and there's also one that they did in Germany. WCW did in Germany that didn't make it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Was that the one where... Was that one of the early ones, or was it like late post fucking?
It
like
must
Nitro?
have been pretty late because I know that Crow Sting was on it, and I think it's against like Kevin Nash.
Huh.
Alex Wright was
also,
on it.
I don't
and
think some
stuff.
of the regional ones that they had a thing in Australia. I don't know if they've ever done any of those. Like the first tour they did when they came to Sydney, and like I think it's the only time The Rock wrestled in Australia. Like I got to see Undertaker and stuff. That was pretty cool, but I never got to see Rock.
I got to see Undertaker live when he was in his feud with CM Punk on a house show. That was a lot of fun. Because on the house shows, they can just break storyline all the time. Like Chris Jericho, during a week in which he was supposed to be fired, showed up at a Canadian house show I watched to team up with like a bunch of other like faces and heels alike, all in Canadian tights to fight the Nexus. And I got to, he's like with Chris Jericho and the New Hart Dynasty, and they're all in Canadian tights.
It's insane how, like, I keep hearing about, like, how fun the house shows are.
They are.
It's super important. I'm watching it now. It's, like, super important for fucking Triple H to go over Bobby Roode. Also, I'm not happy that Bobby Roode's using that DDT finisher. Like, Edge used to use it, and it just always looks so janky. Oh, here comes Granddaddy Angle. Oh!
I like it, and I can understand why they don't want him using the payoff, his old TNA one, because Fisherman Suplex, it's a heel move. It's a heel finisher. It's hard to cheer the Fisherman Suplex.
I always like the Fisherman's.
I do.
The Fisherman's
I like
is a great
it,
suplex to me because it's one you can actually do to people, like really easily. People always get sucked into the Fisherman's Suplex.
I like the
Angle
move a lot.
The pre-German suplexes is just brutal to watch because his back doesn't bend. His fucking head looks like it's about to explode.
And I also get that they
His
can't
slam
have.
barely moves.
I also get that they can't have Bobby do the Rude Bomb because it's basically just a falling version of the AA. So they're in an awkward spot. The first match they had Bobby do a falling like pump handle slam, but crowd didn't really react for it, which is a shame because I kind of like that move when it's not Road Dogg bumming a guy in the ass. So the match starts with Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman because Shane's a fucking idiot. He instantly gets thrown across the entire ring and tags out to Randy Orton. Smojo tags in and grapples with Orton, continually taking him down with some shoulder blocks. Orton teases the RKO like he does literally every single match now, but Joe gets a coquina clutch that's quickly thrown off. Joe tags in Balor. Randy tags out to Nakamura at the crowd's request. Finn and Nakamura grapple and counter around for a bit before Triple H tags in. He instantly establishes himself as heel by forcing Nakamura into the corner and throwing punches when the ref is asking for a clean break. Triple H completely fucks up his own knee facebuster. Bobby Roode takes in. This is basically a mirror matchup where Roode is an alternative costume for Triple H.
I noticed that as well. That was kind of fun.
Bobby goes for the glorious taunt, but is instantly dropped with a punch in the face like a bitch. He fights back with a series of great punches and a corner clothesline for a 1 count. Bobby goes to shoot Triple H off the ropes, as you can hear him clearly yell Spinebuster. Triple H then hits a Spinebuster, and it's a wonder they didn't both try it. Rumor has it if they both went for the Spinebuster at the same time, they'd lift each other at the same time and just never stop going up. And we can only pray that they'd come back one day by knee-dropping their way back down to Earth.
Exactly 2K18.
The same human... Sorry, I will never run out of these jokes of the mirror matchup. I just love Spinebuster, and then it's followed by Triple H goes for a pedigree, but Bobby counters into his own Spinebuster. Love that shit. Angle tags in, hits a series of 3 German suplexes to Roode.
Those were barely German. Like, he
got them up. It's at least like Hungarian, like discount German. Maybe Austrian. I've got like 3 friends now that are gonna scream at me after this for that. Angle's got these weird blue and white America gloves on.
America.
What's with that? I've never seen him wear those before. Is that is that a TNA thing I missed?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Maybe he was wearing gloves when he was fighting T-shirt Sting. Man, back when Sting made his debut on WWE, I was literally with my fiancé chanting T-shirt Sting. I was hoping he'd come out as what I refer to as T-shirt Sting, which is late TNA Sting, where all he does is brawl on the outside and he doesn't bump, he just buckles to his knees. But no, he came out as actual Sting and not T-shirt Sting.
Fat and can't be fucked Sting.
My favorite. He comes
Don't
out
body
in his
shame me, Sting.
It's a singlet, but he's wearing his own T-shirt over it. Oh my god, that's the best. Right, so Angle takes in, he's got the American gloves, does the German suplexes. Angle tries for the angle slam, but Bobby lands on his feet and they hit a double clothesline in each other. I'm not really sure why Angle is selling the clothesline for a full 30 seconds when he's hardly been in the match, other than that he is a very old man.
Yeah, he is granddad. You know, you can't stop beating up granddad.
Yeah. Nakamura tags in and starts kicking the shit out of Kurt Angle after hitting Braun off the apron. Nakamura goes crazy and takes out all of Team Raw other than Braun, who gets tagged in. Nakamura tries to fight him off, can't knock Bran down. I made a typo there. I think the Bran is actually what Angle's on. Who catches him in the running power slam for the pin at 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
I like the running power slam as a move.
Yeah, right? I love it. It reminds me of when Davey Boy Smith was still good.
Yeah, British. Back when he was like full tilt British Bulldog.
Yeah, back when he wasn't.
The running power slam really felt like a fucking finisher, you know.
Yeah, back when he wasn't not like Road Dog. Road Dog. Fuck. Not like British Bulldog 1999, where he just comes out in boots and jeans, bitches constantly about where's my title shot, and then. Oh,
and then dies.
He is so depressing in his last while. Bobby Roode tries to take Braun down and manages to get a big blockbuster, which is pretty nice. But he doesn't even get a 1 count. He goes for a second blockbuster because he's an idiot and gets caught in another power slam for the pin at 13 minutes. There's two of Team Smackdown
that was
down.
Kind of a weird drop too. Like fucking Roode missed him kind of a bit to the left, and I don't know if it was what the miscommunication was, but it really felt like maybe Braun was supposed to catch him like high and just immediately transition into the running power slam.
Yeah, but he kind of like...
He kind
of rolled down the side.
Came real short, yeah. Rolled down.
Just kind of right around the waist, grabbed him back up, did it.
Yeah, just scoop him up and do the running power slam.
So, the two teams have a massive brawl. Randy Orton hits a scoop power slam on Samoa Joe. Not as crisp and nice as it usually is. Those two are like fucking scoop power slam masters. It's like Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, and Gold Dust. I can watch them power slam forever.
Oh yeah, like I think this one was a good one. Like Samoa Joe is fucking heavy.
He is, and he's round.
You can see there's not a lot. Yeah, there's not a lot of Joe when he's going into it either. So I get the feeling like it's slower because it's coming more off of like Randy having to put the fucking strength in, which I find impressive. Like I don't mind if a move's slow if it's on like fucking some hefty beef like Samoa Joe. And I've just been calling him Smo Joe lately. Here's the weird standoff between fucking Cena and Orton versus Braun. And fuck, Cena and Orton have just grown to look alike.
They gotta have.
They have the same hair here. Like,
so you cut out and then cut back in for a second earlier, and you were just saying that Randy Orton doesn't have any mojo. It was great.
Oh no, I've just been calling like Samoa Joe Smojo lately.
Yeah,
just because it is
Fatima does the exact same thing ever since she saw Steinernomics.
Oh, it's Steiner, yeah.
Oh my god, we love that promo so much. We've been trying to figure it out forever. The two teams have a massive brawl after the elimination of I almost said Braun, of Bobby Roode. Randy Orton hits a scoop power slam on Joe. Orton and Cena Ion. Orton and Cena start teaming up on Braun Strowman. Orton and Cena team up on Braun Strowman, but even 2-on-1, he powers them. What the fuck did I write? How late at night was it? Powers them. I think I meant overpowers them. Eventually they managed to knock him out of the ring.
Fucking Knack and Rude come back and help him. And I should stress that while this is going on, I cannot see what is supposed to have happened to Team Raw.
They're all just kind of around. I think they got brawled and thrown out of the ring, but the camera didn't really look at them for a long time.
Well, nothing happened to them that should have been that crippling. And I think Shane's going up for his big fucking suicide dive, and then along comes Smujo and fucking back body drops him off.
So eventually they managed to knock him out of the ring, but Braun clocks Cena hard with a punch. Now this is the Cole call of the night. I replayed this about 5 times to write down word for word what he said. Cole says, quote, "Now both men fighting the back again on the monster Mong men among men."
I am going... Did you timestamp that? What's happening when
If memory serves, this is right before the double suplex. like right before it. This is when they were still setting up for it. You gotta go listen to it. It is now.
I absolutely have to hear that.
Now both men fighting the back again on the monster Mong men among men.
It sounds like Scott.
It does. I remember
Michael Cole having a stroke. This is like the Demented produced the best poetry. Like, you know, you can't. It's so hard to train yourself to think like a true lunatic.
It's when we watched it live, me, Brandon, and Fatima were all watching it live, and right when that happened, there's a moment of silence as we listen. Then we all burst out laughing and start doing like Porky Pig jokes.
Mong, mountain man.
Fun back, mong. That's all, folks. Fucking hell!
I've got something to listen to when I get.
Oh my god! Now both men fighting the back again on the monster Mong men among men.
Mong men among men.
It's like a tongue twister. It's incredible. Oh my god! I feel like that deserved 5 minutes of the podcast. I'm not cutting any of that. All right.
Oh, it's not like we've been, concerned about time.
Oh, no. No. Long version of this is like 5 hours. Cena and Orton double suplex Braun through the announce table with the illegal help of Bobby Roode and Nakamura. This is confusing because otherwise, either in this, like, the rules apply. There are countouts. There are rope breaks. There's, you can't have a weapon in the ring. Like, there are rules.
Of the rules are just bullshit in this, and that's one of the fucking... again, if you don't treat your rules like they matter your entire fucking universe, that you're pretending, because what are people supposed to complain about now? What stakes can you have now? Shane fucking fended off, Potato and Sammy with Cher, and that's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and was the ref not noticing it or something? Or does it not count because they're not in the match? Like,
this thing was largely a shit fight. Well, it should have been a disqualification. It still is. If it's interference, it's a disqualification.
Yeah, should it disqualify the opposing team?
Yeah.
If anything, that should have helped Team Smackdown. So Shane McMahon goes for a diving elbow drop from the turnbuckle to Strowman, laying outside of the ring for no reason when he's already dead. But thankfully, is stopped by Samoa Joe hitting a great top rope belly-to-belly suplex.
Smojo.
Shane tags out to Cena, who hits the shittiest drop kick in the world on Joe.
I know. I was like one of those No Mercy drop kicks where the thing is like fucking an inch away from the actual character, but it doesn't matter because it's on the Nintendo 64.
He just kind of levitates up and his legs go out sideways. It always looks so awkward.
It's like when Tomohiro Ishii does a fucking Enziguri. He doesn't seem to understand that the legs are involved. He just throws his body violently and lets the legs come along for the ride.
Throws his body violently and takes out everything with him.
Yeah, it's just there, and the legs are there. Here's my body and legs, and then fucking that's Cena's drop kick. It's like, oh.
So Cena hits a shit drop kick before Joe takes him down with the Manhattan drop big boot running senton combo, which is awesome. Cena goes for the corner charge, but Joe catches him in his awesome, like, brutal Uranagi he does, where he yells, "Sit your ass down," and spikes him on the mat. I saw him do that to Apollo Crews a few weeks ago, and it's the most brutal one I've ever seen. Fucker bounced. He bounced up to the middle rope in height. Fuck, man. And he's a solid human.
It's like slightly smaller Big E.
It's like he actually is made of basketballs. His muscles are big enough to be basketballs, but the fucker bounced. I've never seen it look that brutal. I need to show you a clip of that or something.
I'll fucking YouTube it. He starts to do... Finn tags in, sets up for the coup de grace, but then Joe tags himself back in.
Thank you. I'm stupid. So
what
I wrote was Finn tags in to land the coup de grace, but Joe tags back in instantly because he's a fucker.
Yeah. And like this idea of like internal discord is actually really good.
Especially because those two have feuded so much.
Yeah, and it could also explain why, because SmackDown loses, like, Roode and Nakamura are gone. And it's like, okay, that's two of their better and, more important up-and-comers. And what have we got left? Cena, fucking Orton, and Shane. And Shane's not a fucking wrestler. Like, he's a novelty match champ. That's it. Like, you can't pretend he's got the same ability to do a long, like, in-ring as, even crippled Grandpa Baldo in fucking... Angle. Like,
they've taken all the spice out of it. They've got the two solid rocks who are always there. They've got the support character, and they got out all the spicy bits.
Yeah, they're literally the most boring team in the world now. It's fucking Cena and goddamn,
We could have seen this in 2003.
And 2004. And 2005.
I think we did see it in all of those years.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you ignore the Shane part, like, you've just got literally 15 years or,
And those two put on great matches against each other, but I don't think I need to see it for the 25th time.
Well, then they just stopped caring.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus.
If every pay-per-view main event's just going to be those two fuckers for the title, then how different can they possibly make it?
Like, they honestly look like the same wrestler with the necessary selecting him twice costume change.
Yeah, I know, right? One's a little taller, though.
Yeah, like, for some reason, fucking Orton's got the same haircut as fucking Cena. And they just, like, I think, like, Orton's got the tats and shit, but that still just looks like costume change. And the result is just two people who look fucking identical.
Who are the two robots from the co-op of Portal 2? Peabody and something? It's a little... one's a little taller, one's a little wider. Yeah. Same dude.
Yeah. So I've just watched Cena fucking FU to Balor and Smoojo.
Oh yeah, that's my note here. They argue for a little bit. Cena hits the AA out of nowhere, catches Balor in the air, hits AA on him, then picks Joe up for another AA pin at 18-10. Angle and Cena slow things back down with some chain wrestling until Cena starts taking shortcuts with lunges and kicks, which I thought was a little strange.
Slow things down now with a little Kurt Angle.
The little bit of old man Angle.
And like Triple H is getting up off the ground like the fight that broke out fucking 10 minutes ago. Like before Braun went through the table was enough to have him busy. Like that's the bit that gets me the fucking most is half of Raw is just gone for ages with no visible reason. Like, I don't know if something amazing happened off camera.
Smoke break? I don't know.
Yeah, like, this wouldn't fucking surprise me. They're just sitting there like, little lunch pails open and shit.
I would have expected to be Randy Orton because he vapes and everybody's obsessed with that. Did you know he vapes? Apparently he just quit on the European tour.
Vapes? What? Like, I don't understand the kids these days.
I don't get it either.
In my day, I had to smoke my marijuana through an apple.
I'm not even that old and I don't get it. Like, I'm 25, I should get these things, but I don't.
Does it get, do you vape to get high? Is it a drug thing? Like, do you passionate
vaping is like electronic cigarettes, but it can
I know that part.
It can also refer to like drugs though. So
okay.
Apparently he smokes electronic cigarettes. And Randy Orton ripped into himself. Kevin Owens ripped into him on Twitter for it. Cena hits the 5 moves of doom as Finn looks deeply offended on the apron. It's really funny. But before Cena can get the 5-knuckle shuffle, Angle picks the leg to go for the ankle lock, which is pretty cool. Cena gets out, but quickly gets hit by an Angle slam, but Shane McMahon breaks up the pin. I'll learn English one day. I can read my own notes, I swear. It's not 1:30 a.m. While the ref is distracted, Finn Balor hits the coup de grace, and Angle hits another Angle slam, pinning Cena at 21:55. Randy stomps the shit out of Angle, but then just walks away and lets Angle tag to Finn Balor, who cleans house. Finn fucking murders Shane with a shotgun drop kick into the crowd barricade before getting in a big sling blade.
Cool, actually.
Yeah, I know, right? Before getting in a big sling blade and shotgun dropkick in the ring to Orton. Orton rolls out of the way of the coup de grace before planting Finn Balor with a beautiful RKO for the pin at 24 minutes. Triple H rushes in the ring and blindsides Orton with a clothesline to the back of the head. Orton goes to tag out to Shane McMahon, but Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens show up at ringside and beat the fuck out of Shane, kicking him to hell and throwing him over the Spanish announce table. Shane uses his mutant healing factor to fight his way back up with the chair. Owens gets in the ring for no reason and gets hit by an RKO. I can't begin to explain why he went in the ring. But he gets laid out with an RKO and rolls out. Braun, who's finally recovered after 10 minutes, tags himself in and kills Orton with a running power slam, pinning him at 26:40, leaving Shane McMahon as the last man on Team Smackdown. Now, there are 8 minutes left in this match.
I can't tell you how confused I was by everything after fucking Cena getting pinned.
So these last few notes should explain how dreadful the match was after Orton got pinned after that one last big moment. Shane sells for a while how terrified he is, getting a chair for defense, but a ref confiscates it. After nearly 2 full minutes of stalling, he gets in the ring with Braun, but Triple H blind tags himself in. They stall for another 1 full minute before Kurt Angle blind tags himself in. Shane quickly gets a roll-up for 2, Russian leg sweep for 2, and a bunch of incredibly shit punches and a back elbow for 2.
Shane's punches are like the worst fucking thing.
Oh my god. It's like Jenna Maraska punches or something. Okay, maybe that was a bit too harsh.
Like, it's, he's not even, it just looks like he's not even trying to make them look real.
I don't get it. He does MMA.
Yeah, like, because he's too close. And he's just doing these funny little, like, rabbit punches.
He just kind of, like, shuffles his shoulders left and right a little, and that's the momentum of his arms.
Yeah, like, I just don't know what he's fucking doing.
So, so he constant move and then pin 2 count over and over and over for a little while before Angle finally plants Shane with a big angle slam and locks him in the ankle lock. After staying in the ankle lock for longer than any human should be able to survive, Triple H randomly gets in the ring and hits Angle with a terrible looking pedigree and drags Shane on top of him for a pin at 32-5. Again, Angle gets pinned at 32-5. Shane was the last man in at 26-40. That is how long they've been stalling.
9 fucking minutes.
So Triple H then spends the next minute pretending he's going to turn on Raw to side with Shane before planting Shane with a pedigree and pinning him, ending the match at 33-20. After the match, Triple H buddies up with Braun, but Braun kills him with 2 running power slams, and after the cameras went off air, Triple H, on the live Twitter feed, accidentally slams his face into the LED board, turning around to go backstage.
That looked so deliberate, but again, to what effect? Like,
yeah, that's really the thing.
Like a comedy bit that he was doing deliberately, but like, why would you do that? I'll begrudgingly give them something. I want to watch Raw now to see where this retarded idea is going. Like, why?
I've been watching it. If you want me to just recap it,
yeah. So tell me, what did this turn into? Because this ending is fucking dumb. Like, cutting all the fun out of your goddamn team. Of Braun, but really, where'd that go? And then having, like, old man delay squabble is just so fucking boring.
Okay, and then, so this is my honest answer. It has been 2 days... No, 1 day? 1 day since I watched Monday Night Raw. I do not remember if it went anywhere. That's not a good... I'm the guy who watches Main Event, and I don't remember it left so little of an impact. I know that Braun Strowman came out, and he fought Kane. And he beat the shit out of Kane. I know that Kurt Angle, I think he was there. Yes, he must have been there because he was talking about the Cruiserweight division at one point. I know that Triple H was not there. I don't believe. I know that Jason Jordan was there bitching about his knee. I know that Elias had a really good title match against Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental title. He didn't win it, but it was a great match. I really liked that. I know that The Miz... No, I don't remember what The Miz... yeah, I don't remember what The Miz did.
He was mizzing it up.
The Bar had a match. I think it was... No. Seth Rollins had a match against Sheamus. That's all I remember. I can't tell you what happened. Nothing.
And this, again, it's like, what am I getting out of this? What am I getting out of my time invested? You know? Like, yeah, occasionally, every now and again, something happens. And I have all these amazing ideas for how cool it could be. And I watch out of some delusional fucking hope that any of the cool shit will happen, and it never does.
At least NXT and 205 Live are only an hour each. Sometimes less. 45 minutes to an hour.
No, that's...
And you see, like Cedric fucking Alexander. Holy shit, that guy.
I know.
He does a lumbar check, and they get launched 500 feet in the air. He did it. Good. He did it once to Brian Kendrick, an amazing wrestler, Brian Kendrick, and I thought I'd never see him again. He went so high in the air. What the fuck? NXT is really hot right now. Did you see TakeOver, the most recent one?
I downloaded it. I haven't watched it yet.
Man, I can't recommend it enough. That match of Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream.
I know. It's honestly Velveteen Dream has been taunting me back into it. Like,
I love it. He's been so good.
Fascinating.
He's been so good every week. He's great in the ring. He's one of those guys who wrestles a unique way that it looks like a fight. he's sloppy in a way that it's not like he's shit. It's that it's scrappy. It's a fight with that guy. Like
sloppiness.
If he's got some sloppy punches on the ground, it's because he just can't wait to fucking deck the guy long enough to get in position. He can't wait to take
that's
that.
Actually, that's really sold me now. I really want to watch that.
Like, he can't wait
that
to
and he looks like a JoJo character.
Oh yeah, he's buff as shit. He's like 21 or something.
Fuck's sake,
and like,
man.
he can't wait to fucking kill Leo Rush.
My life is over.
He can't wait to kill Leo Rush so fucking hard in that ring that he's stumbling over, just punching his face off. He's got this move where he does a Death Valley driver, but he cartwheels through it like the rolling hills, but sideways, then gets on the top rope and does the Purple Rainmaker, where he jumps fucking 100 feet in the air and does an elbow drop. I've seen him do it where a guy wasn't lined up with him properly. You know, they're supposed to be like horizontally aligned with the turnbuckle for a diving elbow drop. The dude wasn't lined up right. His head was pointed towards it. So, and he was halfway across the ring. So he corkscrewed in the air like Rob Van Dam and hit the elbow drop.
Oh, fucking sweet.
This dude has been a wrestler for 2 years. He had a little bit of training before he was on Tough Enough, got eliminated in round 4, instantly hired, and he's fucking great.
I gotta get on the Velveteen Dream. I need to fucking go. I'm gonna go catch up on some fucking. I'm gonna go back onto fucking. I don't know, sign up for the fucking network for a month and just watch the back catalog of Velveteen Dream.
Well, I would love to hear your opinions on it, but we should do an outro. Everybody who's watching this, everybody who survived till the end of this, I'm not sorry you inflicted it on yourself. You saw the time code.
There's two versions. Yeah, there's two versions.
Look, the best part is the short version is literally going to say short, and it's probably still going to be 4 hours.
Cut it. Okay, seriously, cut it down more than that.
I'm going to chop it. I'm going to hack it down to.
Yeah, if maybe we're not talking a half.
If we've talked about something that is not directly involved with Survivor Series for more than 30 seconds, it's gone. It's only in the long version.
That's a good life philosophy.
The only thing I'm cutting out of the long version is probably when you took a piss break.
Oh yeah, get rid of that.
Yeah, I don't think we need to leave that in. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear your feedback and everything. I want to know what you guys thought of it, if you liked parts we didn't like or didn't like parts or whatever. You can go check out Gabe. He's on Twitter at Gaben Engard, spelled like E-N Guard. Gabe, did I say Gaben?
Yeah, Gabriel on guard.
Fucking
but without the E at the end of on guard.
Yeah, it's in the description. You can also check out Keep It Classy, it being E.T. That's also in the description. I've already plugged Aaron.
Having to do names on the internet.
I know, right? I've already plugged Aaron tons of times on the show. Gabe's the other guy on that show. We got the other guy.
Yeah.
The
original.
So you can go check out him. If you already checked out Aaron, then you probably already know Gabe. Either that or from Let's Drown Out. And maybe we'll do this again sometime the next time we have literally 7 hours to kill. We're the two most rambly motherfuckers in the world. Like, you guys, if you're watching the short version, you have no idea how much we cut. And there was also about an hour and a half of us talking before we started recording.
Yeah, I'm looking at it's fucking... Yeah. We started this at fucking 9.
I apologize to you at least. This is our first conversation ever together, and we found a way to make it 7 hours. So I guess that's cool.
Yeah, it just kept going.
Yeah, wrestling conversations are fun. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, have a nice day.
Toodaloo.